Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 121. We are back down in the basement studio to talk about another week of wrestling. It's myself and my co-host and teenage son, Jack. How you doing, Jack? Not great, eh? He's battling a sore throat today. Just popped in a Halls to hopefully mitigate that somewhat. But, so you wasted our good banter before we even got on the air, but we'll bring it back up and act like we didn't just talk about it. So we're both really big Jack White fans, and Jack was just, I think you've even discovered some songs I probably haven't heard. We'll have to go back, but you were saying what to me? That there's a bunch of?
Because usually when he has an album, he puts out a bunch of them as singles, I guess, I assume beforehand. Probably like the Gorillaz are doing. And, on a bunch of them, there's another song tacked on.
Right.
Sometimes it's like a song I already know. Like, I think the 16 Saltine single has Love is Blindness, which I'm pretty sure I've heard.
Well, you definitely have. I know I have.
But then some of the other ones have like singles I don't know.
Cool. So you've can do that today if you're not coming out with your mother and brother and I. You can track them down and recommend some for me, and I'll start with whatever you recommend if they're ones I haven't heard.
Machine Gun Silhouette.
There's
that's already one of them. That's been tacked on. You know, Love Interruption from that first album.
Yep.
Of his, and so that's tacked onto that one. That's the extra one. I found the acoustic one first, which is not that much different from the real one, but it's one of those ones.
I imagine I've heard some of them, but I bet you there's some I haven't. I just am not good with names of songs or anything. I'm so old that I more associate them with what track on a CD they were.
Some of them I remember that. Yeah.
Right. So and it's a rare Saturday where you're not working and I don't have to go coach basketball. So we're laughing today, right? We may even go old school and pick up some booster juice after we're done recording here, which is what we always used to do. So I don't know. Other than that, man, it's been a pretty normal week for me, just working and coaching, and you've been schooling and working, right? And I don't know. I'm
hanging on by a thread.
Right. Not feeling super great. I'm ready to just get right into wrestling to spare your voice a little bit. Does that sound fair? All right. So let's do that now. Our first segment is where we take a look at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, when it comes to ratings this week, NXT averaged 664,000 viewers, which is down 0.9%, so basically the same as last week. Earned a 0.15 in the key demo, which is actually a significant increase for them of 15.4%, so they'll be happy with that. And this week, still some tough competition. Last week, it was World Series. This week, it was election coverage in the United States, which dominated the ratings.
For what?
It's like midterm elections, so not presidential stuff, but other stuff that wouldn't interest you, but sadly interests me a lot. I know more about American politics than Canadian just because it's a bit of theater down there to me. So I watch quite a bit of it. Dynamite this week averaged 930,000 viewers, which is slightly up 2.1%. Earned a 0.32 in the demographic, which is up 10.3%. But again, both shows had kind of low ratings last week due to the World Series being in stiff competition. So this week for Dynamite, it was just a regular NBA game and continuing elections coverage from the night before. So numbers sort of back to where they tend to be in the same range weekly for both of the shows. Yes, that's where instead of nodding, you speak.
Okay. What do we got?
I don't know what you got.
Probably the most interesting thing for me was I just randomly came across on the Instagram Explore page for next week's Rampage, aka Full Gear Friday. Air quotes.
Hadn't heard that before.
Konosuke Takeshita is back, baby.
Yes.
Next week on Rampage, he's teaming with Jun Akiyama, some guy, against Kingston and Ortiz.
I've heard of Akiyama.
That's gold.
Can't say if I saw him wrestle, but yes, we are both very excited to have Takeshita coming back. Hopefully,
a month too late, but
hopefully he can stay for a while. I don't know.
Hey, we went to AEW a month ago now. It's the 12th.
Oh, wow. That's right. I just want to see more Takeshita, so very happy he's back in our lives here in North America for however long it lasts.
Very happy.
Some funny news. I mean, it's not super significant, but it just is fun to say that Crown Jewel draws the lowest WWE pay-per-view number ever. And I was surprised.
So that means
just buys, so not
like people that bought it via traditional methods.
Correct. Okay. So that's why I'm saying it's not super relevant, because who the heck?
I was gonna say,
who the heck does
that really matter?
Right.
But I mean, it is kind of funny.
It's just fun to have a headline of it was the lowest pay-per-view ever because it was blood money, right? So, it's because most people are watching on WWE or Peacock or whatever. We still have the WWE network here in Canada, but in the States, I believe it's on Peacock now. So the pay-per-view numbers were 6,500 buys, which is just funny. But again, it's not crazy because who's doing that? But it is technically the lowest for any WWE pay-per-view show in history. It's down 39.7% from Extreme Rules, which was the pay-per-view premium live event that immediately preceded it. I'm a bad. I do this every week and I still don't
all
get the
year,
right? And that was
the first time I remember them saying PLE was day one. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I think
that's
you're
the
right.
first time. I think they might mention it at the end of last year, but that's the first time I remember hearing
You
it.
just unknowingly foreshadowed our trivia today, by the way.
Interesting.
So, and a little bit relevant because technically it is down comparing apples to apples, right? It's down 8,000 buys from Crown Jewel last year. So, maybe it's significant. I don't know. It was just fun to say that no one watched it in a certain degree.
I'd say it's comparing rotten apples to rotten apples.
Right. Next for you.
Speaking of Crown Jewel, heyo, SmackDown is doing a World Cup. When was the last World Cup, you ask? Oh, Crown Jewel.
Right.
And do you remember what happened in said tournament? Would you like to enlighten the viewers?
I just remember that it was not a World Cup at all. It was like an American Cup.
And do you remember who won said tournament despite not being in said tournament?
Shane McMahon?
Indeed, sir.
Oh, I can't believe. It's like trivia for me and I got it right.
Yeah. That was the last World Cup. And then
I didn't remember the detail that he wasn't actually in a tournament, although I guess
he replaced Miz in the final, I think.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
And then there's a Tag World Cup, I think at Super Showdown, I want to say 2020.
Be cool if it's...
You know who won that?
No.
It's the best tag team in the world.
No.
You're going to love it.
Who?
You want to guess?
No.
You'd love it.
It'll take me forever. Good Brothers?
Yep.
Oh, no. Obviously. First guess. I didn't want to guess it.
Then just to throw it in for fun, there was also in 2020, to set up the Boneyard match, there was a two-Wake Mountain Trophy gauntlet. So Taker just randomly came in and beat Styles at the end of the gauntlet, so that was funny. Anyways, they're doing a SmackDown World Cup.
If it's actually the exact international, could be cool.
It's the exact same trophy as the one in 2018, so that's funny. It still says best in the world on it. So
CM Punk's coming back.
Yeah, and so it already began. Like there were 2 matches on SmackDown.
So do you know who the competitors are?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me.
So the field consists of Mustafa Ali, Braun Strowman, Shinsuke Nakamura, Pete Dunne, as I will refer to him as, Santos Escobar, Ricochet, Jinder Mahal, and Sami Zayn.
What,
so
much more international?
Yes.
Way better.
And so
Jinder, good for him.
Mustafa Ali actually replaced Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't explain why, and they also didn't explain why a Raw guy is in SmackDown tournament. Because I was like, wait, he's a Raw guy, but oh well. So Escobar already beat Nakamura, so that's good, and Strowman squashed Jinder Mahal.
Were they billing Jinder from Canada?
They're billing him as a former WWE champion constantly.
That's true. That is true. And I put this one in just so that you and I can both say I told you so. Cody Rhodes on Twitter admitted that he was a heel in AEW, which we were saying week after week after week.
Right, the babyface, not babyface.
So despite him asserting at the time that he was a babyface, he is now saying no, he wasn't. That we were like, I don't know, smart enough, whatever, clued in enough.
You were definitely on the train the earliest.
To understand that this is not a babyface character, right? So he admitted it, and we all told you so.
Mm-hmm. Next, Sarah Logan's back in WWE. She returned with the Viking Raiders. They beat down Legato and Hit Row, saving us from having to watch B-Fab versus Zelina Vega.
Oh my goodness, B-Fab in the ring is...
against Zelina Vega.
Yeah, that would be... I would almost watch that just to watch that.
I'm almost sad that we didn't get it.
Yeah. So, yeah, good for her. I guess she was decent.
You should have seen her face paint. She looked like exactly like Max Impaler. It was funny.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was funny.
She was, like, fine in the ring, like, pretty good, but just kind of bland everywhere else.
I think this fits her better than, like, Riot Squad or whatever, and she is real-life partner of Ray Rowe.
Yes, that's correct. I will find for you, if I can. She has a legendarily bad promo that she did last time she was in WWE. I'll try and find it.
Really?
It was bad. I'll try and find it for you. What else do I have here? Apparently, I don't know how I forgot this. I think I knew it at some point, but I've been wondering where Tiffany Stratton has been on NXT, because she's one of the ones I think has like massive potential to be a major star. She's been gone, and it turns out she suffered a head injury back in August, right? And which now that I hear it, I was kind of like, oh yeah, that sounds familiar, but I had forgotten. So apparently that she will be back on television soon, and that's good, because I think she's kind of like a perfect fit for NXT in terms of
what it is now.
she's good enough already, but she does still need development, right? Like she's picking things up super fast,
I'm gonna
and
start watching old NXT.
she's really good already for the amount of experience she has. So she's the perfect. And I'll talk about him later, but I think Stax is also kind of in that group where he's already pretty good, but still needs more development, right? So I don't mind watching him as he is now, but he's also going to get better. It's when they're putting in like super inexperienced Saul Ruka, for example, this week, right? Like you're not ready to be. You should still be just in the training facility working on stuff, not on TV yet. But anyways, I digress. Your turn. Sorry.
I'd still say get Cora Jade off TV, but
heel Cora Jade is much better, much more interesting. Not still my favorite.
That applies to like almost everyone ever.
That is very fair point. We always, in this studio, in this household, we always prefer heels.
There are a few people that would be worse as heels,
and partly just in general, heels are more interesting, and partly
it does depend on the heel run.
Current wrestling seems to struggle creating a babyface, right? It's not impossible
aside
to have
from
a great
like
one.
Hangman,
Sami
Moxley,
Zayn, Daniel
Sami
Bryan,
Zayn.
I think are both
Gargano.
like back in the day. Kurt Angle was amazing, right? So
But even Gargano works both ways.
Correct.
Better as babyface, but works both ways.
Yep.
Even so, lately they've been kind of doing him dirty. I hear.
Oh, have they? I haven't heard anything. But I assume
super prominent.
That's too bad. Send him back to NXT. Let's go.
No.
Get him in there with Axiom and McDonough.
Mm-mm.
And Dragunov.
No.
That'd be fun.
NXT is not the place to. If it was like
it started off.
If it was
so
still
good
2021 NXT, then like, sure. But ever since 2.0, it's not a place where I want people to go back to.
We'll get there, but like for the first, I don't know, 40 minutes of NXT, I was like, man, this show's really good. And then
there's still some good matches, but it's still 2.0. And it's just like I can't.
It's less, but yes, it's still
not
similar.
What it should be.
Is it my turn or yours? I forget.
My turn.
We digressed there.
So, a month ago was the first international AEW show in our neck of the woods, Toronto, and so I think so.
Yeah. I remember seeing you there.
You're
directly beside me.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And so, as announced on commentary, AEW are heading to the UK in 2023. So that is their next thing.
Apparently, their ratings are very good there. Or what did they say? Record ratings. So maybe that doesn't mean very good. It just means better than they have been. I guess technically.
Yeah, I assume UK because that's usually like a pretty.
They're usually
big
wrestling hungry. They were always the ones that were keeping like Impact afloat. When people like how maybe still right? How is Impact on TV and looking pretty like decent production value when that's their numbers? But it's like internationally, it does pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like there was NXT UK for a while, literally, which was WWE taking over the UK Indies, which makes sense because there is a lot of UK is like a big spot for indies.
Seems
and
to
stuff,
be
right?
Like Japan, UK, Mexico,
stuff like Progress, WXW, and whatnot.
Right. And UK
which are on the network.
And then WWE came in and tried to kill all of those basically. Plus a pandemic probably almost did kill all of them. Some backstage news apparently. Who knows? That to me is a term of like impossible dirt sheet stuff, right? As soon as it's backstage news. But Bandito's choice to sign with AEW over WWE. Apparently his family, wife and child are still in Mexico, and he would be seeing them far less if he worked for WWE.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially
I saw that too. I was reading that.
Especially since he would probably start out in NXT, right, which is based in Florida, which is about as far as he's going to get in terms of sides of the country. So maybe a contributing factor. I'm glad Bandito's awesome. I want him on a product that I actually watch.
Last one I have was I saw like a few days ago. Oh, nice. Little guy there. Young Bucks filed for a trademark for the Wayward Sons.
I saw that as well because apparently at some point they said that if they could come out to any theme song, that would be their ideal theme song.
Which I don't know. I like their theme song.
I'll go catch the spider. You keep talking.
I don't know. I like their theme song. So it looks like he's like, did he just crawl behind the soundboard? I'm pretty sure he just went behind the soundboard. I'll let you know if he comes back out.
Fair enough.
But I like their theme song. I don't know. I feel like it would just be weird them coming out to that.
Yeah, it would be probably a big licensing fee too. But anyways, we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting, I guess.
Yep. A further indication that Chelsea Green looks like she's on her way out of Impact. Speculation is on her way to WWE. On Impact this week, which I did watch, but her match with Mickie James was neither a high spot nor a rest hold, so it won't be mentioned there. But she lost to Mickie James. And then in a segment a bit later, she was talking to Deonna Purrazzo outside.
He's up top.
And said that she said she is going home. So seems like she's done with Impact, and many people are speculating she's in WWE soon.
Yeah. I don't know. And we were talking about it's kind of like the Ric Flair thing from 2008, where it's like until until their version of Shawn Michaels comes along, then she's not gonna lose.
Regarding the
Mickey
Mickey James
being,
story,
right?
yes,
And not someone as good as Shawn Michaels, but I mean like Shawn Michaels was the one where it's like, where it was like
we're a mess
he
today.
was definitely the one that was gonna beat Ric Flair, right?
Right.
Like you could see like that's where it's going.
Yes.
And until they find like that equivalent,
yes,
it's not gonna happen.
and I don't enjoy,
especially not on TV. I doubt.
And Mickey James is good. I don't enjoy her enough for that story, like knowing she's gonna lose to
Right.
be super interested. And Chelsea Green never really wows me. She's solid, I guess. So yeah, the match didn't interest me too much. I only have one more thing. What about you?
No, I'm done.
Joe Hendry, again, something that was on Impact but not quite a Resthold, so it seems, or Highspots, so it seems a bit noteworthy. He defeated Brian Myers in a decent match. It wasn't bad. So he is now the digital media champion on Impact. It kind of makes sense to me because that seems like the belt that you travel to like little indie things and defend sometimes. Yeah, there's been lots of matches, not lots, but there have been matches not on Impact for that belt, kind of like they're doing with the
Atlantic.
Right. And so he's
they haven't done that as much since seemed like
PAC's
more like
deal.
PAC's excursion.
Right. So the crowd is really behind Hendry. They chant and do the waving.
Some would say they believe in Joe Hendry.
Correct, and they clap when they're supposed to clap. So he's kind of high profile right now, and he can go and do his shtick wherever he wants to defend that title. So that title change made sense. Plus, they're focusing on Myers and Cardona as a tag team again, right? The major players, is that what it is?
Correct.
So it makes sense to get the belt off him since he's being billed as a tag team contender.
You're saying he can't have two belts? Wow.
That's correct. I don't mind Myers. I think he's a great fit for Impact. I've said that for quite a while, but yeah, so that was that. All right, that wraps up news and rumors, and we'll move into our in-depth review each week, and that's taking a look at Wednesday night's AEW Dynamite. All right, tell me about Dynamite, my son.
So we open with a classic staple of AEW.
A whole bunch of dudes wrestling.
Big multi-man tag with many people.
Correct.
At the same time.
Yes. And an interesting mixture. You've got like 3 heels and 1 face, I guess, at this point, right? And then the 2 top tag teams, they're sort of vying for the championships, I guess. So kind of some interesting stories involved in this match, which I always like.
I think it's kind of interesting because they're teasing FTR and the Acclaim,
right?
Yet,
and they even got
not them with the title shot,
right? That's true. They even got a moment of that tease in the match, right?
Yeah, I saw that,
which I thought was useful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the notes, there's a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by Cash to Swerve, which is very nice.
Not to interrupt you, the caster rap. Did you catch any of the references?
One of them, I forgot.
A couple of them are probably over your head. One was to Herschel Walker, and when I was just talking about American politics being like theater for me to sort of consume, he has been a recent one who's majorly in that role. Also, Kyrie Irving reference, right?
Oh yeah, that I got.
The anti-Semite who's too dumb to know he's an anti-Semite at this point. And then also a shot at the Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks because they're underperforming this year. Brady came out of retirement again, or sorry, not again, but came out of retirement and they're not really playing well. So I assume this was in Florida, right? Maybe even Tampa. But anyways, that was the gist of his rap.
He said something wrestling related, but I
think so too. As usual, he did, but I think that was with the Tom Brady reference. Something about you win as much as Tom Brady or the Bucks or something. Anyways, as always, timely references from Max Caster. I thought it was good. Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you. And I'll look up where Dynamite was this week. I'm guessing it had to be in Florida.
Yeah, maybe even Tampa.
I think so. The coughing has begun. Battle through. If you need me to take over, let me know.
Yeah, there's stereo crowd count punches by the babyfaces, so all 4 corners there are doing the punches. So it's, I mean, say what you want about the hammer and anvil elbows, but I'd rather take stereo that than 4 stereo punching corners.
I guess so.
I mean, and it's also better than when Matt Hardy does the turnbuckle.
Oh, where he goes down from the top to the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
The head smashing? Yeah, I guess. Are you being sarcastic or you actually like it?
No, like that's the Blackpool's better than that.
Oh, yes. I agree. Sorry. I agree.
Mm-hmm. There's a hot take flurry from Bones, which was pretty cool. He had some nice strike combos and whatnot. Guns hit a smash contraption to Bowens, but Caster broke the pin at 2. Later on, there was a mass brawl in the ring. Everyone was in there. There's a really cool corkscrew dive to the outside by Swerve onto the pile of people.
Yeah, it looked good.
Kind of like jumped out. Looked like he was doing like a 450 thing, but then kind of all of a
Yes.
sudden corkscrewed it.
Something that I don't feel like a ton of people can do, right?
It's like when Andrade did like, you know, he like did the springboard and like did like the
Yes.
but he kind of like stalled for a second. He would like kind of like he looked like he was doing a crossbar and then just like
Who is this Andrade you speak of?
La Sombra.
I know. Does he still exist?
Well, I mean, he did try to fight Sammy,
True, he did.
so I don't know what the
real.
deal is.
Yeah.
Then Dax superplexes Austin Gunn onto the pile on the outside, which is fun. And it was funny how he landed on Keith Lee, 'cause it was just like a landing on a giant pillow and just
Yeah.
like just gradually falling down. And the way he landed was pretty funny.
It looked pretty. Yeah, Keith Lee is, I mean, a great base, obviously, right? Like he's just, you can hit him no problem, and he will take that impact.
You could probably superplex Austin just on a Keith Lee, and you'd probably be fine.
He's like the anti-Miz base, because early in his career, he would like get out of the way of people instead of letting them hit him, right?
Right. So the finish comes when the Claim hit their finisher, Common Colton, the arrival, and I think the mic drop. And then after hit Austin Gunn with the smash contraption for the win, basically adopting that as the real name. So
Yeah, they
honestly,
should, obviously.
Then I get confused when they call it the Big Rig, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, because it's the smash contraption to us. Yeah, I like this match. I thought like Dax had good fire early on, and then I thought somewhere like in the middle, the Bowens hot tag was really good. Like he had us going, oh, a couple times. The super kick was thrust kick, whatever,
Usually
Excalibur.
Not a thrust kick.
And again, like I like the tease of the FTR Acclaim thing. I didn't really see any. Did you see any issues between Swerve and Keith Lee? You did, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if there was any or not. But that's another storyline going on.
Really, I
here
remember
that's
the
cool.
one time I saw them kind of arguing on the outside when something was going on.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And also the fist bump on the entrance.
Right.
I think it was. Yeah, might have been when there was like the brawl standoff already. He was kind of trying to get Lee in there, and Lee's kind of like reluctantly in there. Like when there was the big standoff, Lee's kind of like not
so there's
fighting
a
until
million
he gets
examples
attacked.
that I forgot. So I like
It was
that.
pretty
being-
minor. It's kind of like a background
which
element.
I like, subtle stuff, right? So you're kind of furthering or reminding us of two storylines within a really fun, like multi-person match to start the show. So it kind of harkened back to like what I call peak Dynamite, where we were getting like trios matches and other multi-man stuff in the opener all the time, and it was amazing. So lots of great action in this. Really, I thought got the crowd energized and was just fun to watch in general. So I thought it was a great open to the show.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid opener. Kind of harkens back to like that, like you were saying. I think everyone installed here. I think we could have had even better with, you know, if you had someone else other than the Guns. But they were fine here. Like it wasn't bad. It was just kind of fine. Swerve's outside dive was pretty cool. Superplex was cool. The hot tag from Bowens was pretty hot. Like that was good. That definitely picked it up a bit. There's some solid action here, and like kind of the underlying Swerve and Lee thing was solid. Teasing the eventual FTR Acclaimed is good. Again, kind of looks past, I guess, Swerve and Lee, but not like
A
I'm
little bit,
expecting them to win.
No, me either.
But it's kind of like the Penta thing, I guess. But I think this is good. And so Solway starts the show, yeah.
Yep.
And there's a lot of belts there.
They were picking them up off the ramp, FTR, on the way in, right? There's so many belts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, next we get MJF interview from a podcast.
Yeah, it looked like it, right?
They were saying like biggest sports podcast. Yeah, I never caught the name. I don't think.
I did, but I forget now. I can look it up.
Okay.
No problem.
So MJF says doctors said for him to be 110% of full gear, he shouldn't be traveling so much. And all he cares about is that match, and it could be the biggest match of the sport. He says it's because it could be the crowning of a generational talent. He lists all the greatest in pro wrestling, like he was talking about, like Flair,
Right.
maybe Harley Race, I think.
Yep.
San Martino, maybe Dusty Rhodes.
Didn't mention Hogan, which I loved.
No, he did.
He did?
Yep.
Oh, I was listening, and I thought he specifically didn't.
I'm
but-
pretty sure he did. Hogan, Cena, Rock, Austin.
Yeah.
And he's saying, for him to cement himself on that list, he needs a long, fruitful title reign, and the only one standing in his way is Moxley. He insults Mox a bunch, but then he says he respects him because he was born to be a world champion despite his disadvantages. He did the impossible. He will lose a full gear because MJF was born to be the guy. He can wave the flag at AEW and pro wrestling and bring him back to the spotlight. He says everyone is aware for the throne is for the taking, and he is the one to take it. He says ever since he came to AEW, his spot has been taken by something else. He talks about the Cody, Jericho, Matt Hardy getting
Second
concussed.
place, or like being overshadowed by a neck tattoo. That was funny.
That was funny. Oh, I forgot about his crappy neck
That
tattoo.
was funny.
He says ever since he came to AEW Spotlight. Oh, I read that. Wait, no. And he says, on Full Gear, he won't wait for the Spotlight anymore. He will grab it. He says Regal bet on the wrong horse. He says at Full Gear, the devil gets his due. And I thought this was great because I tried my best to go word for word on it. I was kind of following him at the best I could. And he kind of slipped back into heel MJF here, which is good.
Yes, please.
He's still kind of been like he was the past few weeks where he's kind of been less heel. But to me, it's felt at least a little more like the MJF we know and love to hate. And to me, that is so much better. He lobbied a bunch of personal insults at Mox. And even while praising him, he was putting himself up on this high pedestal with all the greatest of the greats. And he had a point that the spotlight has never fully been on him, and kind of like him being that spotlight hog, but also kind of deserved a bit. Like, I don't know, it's kind of, he's walking the line there. I thought it was cool. And I think it was really great because it also felt kind of different being on the podcast. Like, it was kind of a different setting.
I agree.
So I think that
not
kind of
backstage, not in the ring.
That kind of made it feel a little fresh too, which I don't mind.
I
and
agree.
Some explanation for his absence, which is not bad either. So I think all around this was really well done.
So a couple things. The podcast was called Pardon My Take.
Never heard of that.
And this was taking place in Massachusetts, the show. So that makes sense because Brady played there forever and won 1 million championships there. So that's why the Brady reference. Because he was in New England before. So it's close to there. So that would have been all the Brady fans from the 6 Super Bowls, 5 or whatever he won there. So
only 5? I thought it was more.
I don't know. I've lost track at this point. So yes, I also thought this was really good, and he even did the Mox thing where he put Moxley over a little bit in the beginning of this. He started out a bit more understated than he usually does, and then I thought like really good examples of his spotlight being stolen, right? Like it makes sense to him. It's his heel logic, and I don't think you can refer to yourself as the devil and try to suggest you're a babyface. So I'm confident he's not, and I don't want him to be. But then he got fired up and intense to finish, right? So just another really good MJF segment. He came across as like really focused and confident. He's feeling like he's been overlooked and whatever, and that's a simple story to tell, and it's usually effective. So I think he and Mox, right, like they can build a great build to a match because they're two of the most consistent talkers in the business. So this was a good segment.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because they can kind of just keep kind of going off of each other,
which they've been
doing.
Them to, yeah.
Right. Next we have a quick Stokely Hathaway promo, kind of piggybacks off that, I guess. And he says he thought he and MJF wanted the same things, but somewhere along the line, MJ started dick riding Moxley.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then he says, win, lose, or draw at Full Gear, he'll see Max in hell. It was pretty short, but I thought he spoke pretty well. I thought it was good.
Yeah, my only concern is I feel like it's almost telegraphing the result because I don't feel like AEW champion MJF is dealing with the Firm and Stokely Hathaway.
So MJF losing.
That's what I feel like, right?
Which is interesting because I would have thought, this is MJF's finally his crowning moment,
but maybe not yet.
And honestly,
he can carry on the spotlight taken away by somebody else this time.
I don't know if I'm ready for Mox to lose either, even though he's had it 3 times.
Right. So I'm just wondering, like, as a million-year wrestling fan, like, is your brand champion going to be dealing with this group?
Unless it's the ruse that I have speculated it to be.
Right. So Hathaway's great when he talks, so I like the segment. I just wonder if they're letting me know this is not MJF's time, but we'll see.
Yeah, that is possible now that I think of it, but I don't know, we'll see, I guess, yeah. Wait, Full Gear is next week.
I believe so.
That's not gonna work, because our next match is the first round of the tournament, and then he had 2 matches on Rampage, so that's 3 of the matches done of the first round. So are they maybe doing semifinals and finals at the pay-per-view?
I don't know. What is it, Full Gear? I'll try and look it up.
Because it's on the 19th, right? Which is when we're going to an indie as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot that.
But
a good indie.
But like, I don't know, that they don't necessarily have a ton of time for.
No, to get there. I agree. To get like the finals or whatever semifinals on that show.
They could do, I guess, like semifinals and finals there, because that would make more sense. Because it's only an 8-man tournament, so technically first round acts as a quarterfinal.
Right.
But because like we still have. As of now, we still have Archer and Starks to go.
So it's saying AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament Finals for Full Gear. Competitors to be announced, obviously.
No semifinal? How's that going to work?
It's not listed on here.
Maybe you do the semifinals on Rampage?
I guess. I bet you that could be your whole show.
Full Gear Friday?
Is too good
Well, and Takeshita.
right? So two full matches of the semis would be a pretty. If you're trying to get Rampage people to watch it again, because we're
That's true.
already gonna watch the one that was on last night, just because I want to see.
Hell, I'm already watching next week because they got Takeshita.
Because we got, what is it, Roosh Bandito, right? So I'm all in for that.
Yeah, so I guess they could do that if they throw Starks and Archer on Dynamite,
And then semis on
then you
Rampage.
do Cage. What do you think?
Oh yeah, Cage Dante
Cage
Martin,
Bandito and Ethan Page and either Starks or Starks. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Starks,
probably.
Page, Cage, Cage, Starks, Page, Cage, Bandito.
Yeah,
Throw that on Rampage. I think that works, and then you also put Takeshi in. That's a worthwhile Rampage.
it is. Isn't it weird? You kind of have to clarify Cages and Pages because there's
Brian
multiple
Cage,
of each.
Ethan Page.
I assume anyone listening to us knows who we're talking
I mean,
about.
to be fair, I usually refer to him as Hangman.
And Christian.
So, and Christian.
Right, I don't use the Cage too much.
You're right, because he was only ever Christian Cage in Impact.
Remember that was our joke? You could have a match with it was Cage, Page, Page, and I thought there was something else there too.
You could do Orange Cassidy, Isaiah Cassidy.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, true.
I feel like there's another one too. Is there not another Cage or Page? I feel like
I thought there was. That's what I mean. I thought there was a fifth one.
I just saw it too.
It's going to
think
consume
there
you. I
is.
shouldn't have brought this up on air because now you're distracted. Keep going.
Talk
Talk about Dynamite.
Well, there's a middle rope shoulder tackle by Page, sends Kingston to the outside, and then he hits another one off the apron.
I like the one off the apron. Looked cool. I
Pretty
thought
beefy.
it's so simple, right? But such like solid impact.
That's how Masahiro Chono beat Rick Rude in the 1992 G1 Climax to win the vacant NWA
Oh
World
my
Heavyweight
god!
Championship.
Why would you know that?
YouTube.
Recently watched YouTube. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I rewatched the recount.
Nice.
I wish they would do more of those because they have like 5 Bullet Club ones, but it's only updated to when Jay White took over. Before he had a beard, so that was a while ago. And same with the Chaos, it's up to the same point.
Literally baby
which is
face,
Okada
Jay
and
White.
Nakamura's faction.
Right.
And then they have 2 on the G1. Like, I wish they would update those. Specifically Bullet Club.
Well, I assume those people are listening, so just do it.
Yeah,
They're among our millions and millions of listeners, right?
Yeah, Kevin Kelly or whatever.
Yeah, so do it. Make it happen, okay?
Because I decree it so. There's a suplex on the outside by Page, which just looks solid. Later on, there's a strike exchange. Exploder by Kingston. Kingston had the stretch plum in, and Page was tapping, but Hathaway was distracting the ref. Ortiz chased him away, or as Chris Jericho would say, Ortiz.
Right. He does.
Which always amused me. Page boots Kingston. He tries to counter with a bang back fist, but Page ducks that, hits a roundhouse. Finish comes with an avalanche Ego's Edge for the win, because that's how he do.
Took them a minute to get set up and get the grip for it, but it was good. So I mean, a complaint is with these two guys involved. I would love that there was actually a build to this because you give them weeks to like cut promos on each other, and I would be there for all of that. But anyways, nice to see Eddie Kingston back in the ring, and this was like a pretty hard hitting slugfest. A nice contrast to the opener, right, where it was really fast paced.
Yeah,
I feel like this didn't get a ton of time, but a nice clean win for Page. Clean in quotation marks because they kind of protected Eddie a bit by having the Page tapping out and the ref missing it, right? But at the end of the day, Page did win clean, and I like this match kind of for what it was, which is a very vague thing to say, but and FNS Wrestling loves Ethan Page, so we were pretty happy for him.
Hamilton boy.
And it's what I've sort of been saying the last couple weeks. It feels like he is being elevated slightly, and maybe he's gonna establish himself as the main event level guy in the firm, if there even is one in that group. So I'm pretty happy with him being the one getting some focus, right? He needs more opportunities to cut promos though, which is why being in a group with Hathaway might not be ideal, but because the man is a fantastic talker, especially when he gets mad, right? Like if you haven't seen Ethan Page cut really angry promos, he's fantastic. So yeah, I like this for what it was, which I hate saying, but that fits. You?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty solid for what it was. It was pretty good. I'm pretty happy. Ethan Page comes in looking pretty strong, and they've definitely been upping his presentation lately, which is really great to see. I think it's well deserved.
I agree.
He got a good amount of offense here. He looked good against Kingston. The slight downside to that being, I think Kingston got a little less than he should. But with Page's presentation being good, I'd say a few more minutes to top this up would have been nice. And maybe if this was slightly longer, it would have been good. Or it would have been better. But I think the finish was good too. The Avalanche Eagles Edge was pretty cool. I'm happy Page moves on here. I could see him going to the finals. I could see them booking Page Starks.
Me too. I would watch that.
Although then Bandito loses, so
I feel like they tried to protect Kingston here with the fake tap out, and it took like an avalanche version of the finisher, right? So that's a little bit of a,
Yeah.
Eddie's still good,
I
but
feel like the way it could go is with the firm being around, Page beats Bandito. I don't know how the bracket works because
yeah,
I never saw
me
the full
either.
bracket, so just off of my guesswork here, I could see it being Page cheaply beats Bandito because I don't really see Bandito getting a title shot, and that kind of keeps him looking decent. And then you could have Starks get past Archer, kind of like a David versus Goliath thing, and then he could probably do the same with Brian Cage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I think that would work. And then
I
Starks
have
Page.
the bracket.
Yeah.
So Page wins, so he faces either Bandito or Roosh.
Okay, so I'm right.
Yeah. And then on the other side, Archer, Starks, Brian Cage, Dante Martin.
So
I'm
it's
guessing
probably
Cage and Starks.
yeah.
Makes
so
sense.
then
right?
my theory
Could happen.
could happen.
Yep.
So, and that was with me not.
Look at me
knowing.
looking things up in real time like a boss over here.
I totally guessed
And because I choose good audio equipment, I don't even think the keyboard sounds are being picked up.
it.
Because I'm an audio nerd now. Don't do that. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Next we have Roosh Dark Order thing. Jose says they wanted 10 here, and he says Roosh will win the tournament, even though he already hasn't.
I guess, but
I digress.
Yeah.
And become an AEW champion, even though he can't now. At least not for a while.
he will. Dang it. He better.
Right. And they'll give 10 the first shot, and the rest of them will never get one. Roosh says to think about that because he doesn't get second opportunities, and Silver says back off Roosh bag.
Silver just being amusing, as always.
That's just really funny.
Gets one line and is funny, right? So
That's easily my favorite part of it.
So I love Roosh, and I actually find his fascination with 10 interesting for some reason.
I don't get it. I don't really care.
I kind of do. I'm curious to see where it goes. So I guess for me, that means this is successful because I'm like, why 10? Right? And why are you a heel? You must see so much in him that you want to be aligned with him that you're like, I'll even offer you a title shot. So I find that interesting. And I do want to find out why. And Roosh can argue like that Dark Order hasn't really gotten 10 a title shot in a million years or however long they've been together, but Roosh is willing to do it right away, sort of thing, right? I don't know. I'm okay with it.
Even though he's already lost the tournament.
I wish Roosh were in a bigger program, but at least he's on TV.
Andrade back in with him.
Right. At least he's on TV when many people aren't, right?
Mhm.
So whatever.
Easily best part was John Silver. That
Yes. Roosh is an awesome heel.
Roosh bag. No, that's awesome. Wardlow's next with the TNT Open Challenge versus Ari Daivari. He's offering up VSK as a butler.
Yeah.
He's saying like, now Wardlow was a butler, but now he could have his own.
Nice touch. And Daivari's good on the mic, right?
Oh, how the turntables have turned.
Right. Oh, how the turntables.
Yeah. I always thought that was kind of funny.
And
Wardlow,
you did recognize VSK right away. I actually like him.
I was like, since when did that happen? But
I thought he was a good fit for Impact, but I guess he didn't stick there either.
It was he's also the Cardona family, I think, in NWA.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think he's fine.
You know who else is in that faction?
No.
Mike Knox.
Oh, really? Yeah, we were just talking a while ago that NWA seems to be slipping a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yep. Mike Knox, formerly of Truth and Consequences.
Right.
With R-Truth.
Right.
NXT Superstar.
Correct.
But yeah, so what was I saying?
This match, Wardlow and
No, I was
something profound.
Wait. I don't remember.
So move on.
Damn it. What was I gonna say?
I couldn't tell you.
Nuts. I don't know.
But this is fascinating.
So there's a headbutt by Wardlow, and then that lariat he does, which I was saying it looks funny, so I like it, and it does look kind of effective.
Yeah.
Because he just like clubs him at the end.
It is.
But I also hate it because it looks goofy.
It's sports entertainery, but the impact from it is still decent, right? So
yeah, like I like it a lot, but I also think it sucks.
You have a complicated relationship with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Powerbomb, etc. Wardlow wins. He calls out Hobbs afterwards. Says he finally has a suitable challenger. Yes. Hobbs is out now. And thanks him for finally coming out face to face. But he won't get the title. It's his. He'll take every title in the company. Joe no like. Joe hit Wardlow with belt. Joe choked Wardlow with hands.
That one little comment was enough for Joe to be like, "We're done here. You think you're getting my title?" And I loved it. I know it was super sudden and whatever, but
it was.
But that's Joe, right?
I mean, also
he has a hair trigger.
Could be reading too much into it, but when Wardlow's making his entrance to like the backstage, you see Joe just kind of waiting there. He looked kind of angry.
So I don't know. I was underwhelmed with the open challenger, right? Whenever they say open challenge, you're hoping for somebody new or cool or whatever, and it wasn't. But Davari sold pretty well, I thought, here. And then at least there were developments after the match. Like heel
Wardlow Hobbs.
Hobbs is so cool. We're both like on board for Hobbs right now, right? Like he's just, I don't know, there's something about him. I think he's
You were
super interesting.
always a Hobbs guy.
I was
just
always a
even
Hobbs
before
guy.
He joined Team Taz.
Yeah, I just think he's super cool.
Yeah.
And I really liked, like, as I said, the one wrong thing that's not even directed at Joe is enough for Joe to snap. I have no problem.
You could even go with the logic that title's not in the company, but
right. So the match, whatever, the aftermath, I thought was useful.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I found myself like coughing like you earlier when it goes like really bad, and then you just get like that weird feeling.
Yeah.
When you cough really loud, you can just like, I don't know, you get like a real thing going.
A real thing going.
I don't know.
It's true.
You know how you cough.
Sometimes, yeah.
So yeah, squash match, that happened. Post match was interesting though. I like them positioning Hobbs as the next challenger because Hobbs, I agree, finally someone
super cool.
worthwhile.
Yeah, and that would be just a nice big man match, hopefully, right? Because I still loved Cage and Wardlow was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was great. But just as interesting as Joe's turn, heel Samoa Joe was awesome. Even in WWE, I remember seeing clips of that one promo. I think it was like,
oh no,
he was like, I think it was before some multi-man things. He was like ripping on Orton and Jeff Hardy and someone else.
Yeah,
I think maybe Ali.
Heel
he was
Joe's
just
great.
Like, and that was in WWE on the main roster. So imagine what he can do here if he's just let loose. And so I think that'd be great. You could do a Haas 3-way at Full Gear, and I would love it.
Me too.
Just, I don't do that for you and do a double title. I don't care.
Yep, I'm fine.
Hobbs says both.
Yes, Joe being angry. Angry Joe is awesome Joe, for sure. Still, to this day. You can have my water, dude, if it helps you. I just won't drink
water.
It after your germy face touches it. Go ahead. It's all yours.
Nice and cold.
Next, we get Renee with Jade and the Baddies.
Says something about she'll whip not his ass, take the title, that she's that biatch, whatever, and I don't know. Don't care. Something.
All I noted was Jade towers over the Baddies, like by like a foot, it looks like, and like great attitude from Jade as always in a really quick promo, but it almost still feels like she's almost the baby face here, right? Like she got her title stolen. I don't know. I find it a little confusing. It's not clear, and they won't spend enough time on any women's stuff to make it clear, so we just get what we get, right?
Yeah,
so fine.
I don't really care.
Nope, I'm not a big carer either. Like the build for this match has not been great. It might be an okay match. I kind of like Nyla. I don't know if she and Jade can put a good match together, but I guess we'll find out.
I don't think it should be on the pay-per-view per se.
Doesn't feel like it needs to be to me. But again, I don't know when they're going to build a women's match that does feel that way. I know they're trying with Saraya and Britt right now.
I would rather that than see Jeff Jarrett and Sting.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
In the same match.
In 2022.
20 years after Jeff Jarrett started his company, presumably when they might have wrestled.
In a company where dozens of super talented people can't get on anything.
Darby's
We're going
right
to focus
there.
on Jeff Jarrett and Sting. Upsets me, but
like
people love nostalgia, right? I'm devoid of
why are they not doing
somehow.
Why are they not doing it like Lethal? It should be Lethal Darby Allin 3.
I would watch that
we need a tiebreaker.
Right.
That feels more worthy.
Yep.
Anywho.
Next
we get Saraya Baker in ring.
We do. Face to face, as they say, even though Saraya keeps, as you noted, keeps turning her face away from Britt's fake.
Yeah, she just like
keep
speaking to the crowd. Like, I don't know, it's weird.
She just kept turning and talking to the crowd, right? Where it wasn't directed at Britt so much. But anyways, I probably nitpick Saraya because I'm not a fan.
Oh, I really didn't like it for some reason. I don't know.
It
felt like everything she said I just disliked.
Same. I'll talk about that when you're done summarizing it for us.
So Saraya said a couple weeks ago she did MRIs, X-rays, whatever stuff thing.
Worst kept secret in wrestling coming here.
And she said, unfortunately, for Britt.
And I even said it after that.
Yeah,
right?
You literally you said like for a second before. Yeah, I was like,
goes, oh. Unfortunately, I go for you, and then she said,
she's
for
like, she said she's 100% clear, which I thought the delivery on her line was really weird.
She's not. Anyways, keep going. I'll save my.
I don't know why. And so she says AEW is her house. Baker trashed the fans for being fickle, and she says that Saraya is cleared, so she wonders if Saraya even knows how to do this.
Shocking.
Baker said that Saraya has been coming after Baker since the day that she got there. Baker told Saraya that she built AEW from the ground up and that became a fortress, and superstars like Saraya want to move into it. Baker said she didn't like Saraya calling it her house, and Baker said that Saraya didn't lay a single brick, and she gets why Saraya is obsessed with Britt, because Britt is everything that Saraya wishes she could have been. And Britt
Like
said
that.
Saraya left her house and walked into Britt's house, and Britt said, "We don't do walk-ins, so
That was funny.
make an appointment."
Yeah. I thought
And that was like, that should have been the mic drop.
I agree.
But then Saraya speaks. So, Saraya said that Baker puts herself on a pedestal, and she got put in the position by Tony Khan.
Isn't everybody put in every position by Tony Khan? Like, how is that any sort of...
It's not like she
revelation?
like got her. If anything, she made her own popularity from like the, all the matches and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, it's the opposite.
Right, like Khan didn't put her in that position, and she sort of
Khan
like...
put her in like the babyface position that
She
she was in when
became-
we hated her.
And she became undeniable as a heel,
It's
and then
like-
away we went.
That's like saying Vince put Becky in the position.
Right.
And it's basically like that.
And then and the booker puts everyone in every position. So how is that a criticism, right? That's a criticism of you.
I mean, I
because
see how it is.
Tony Khan
but
brought you in and put you in this spot.
yeah, it's even more. It's
Anyway.
more true with her.
Anyways, we love
Very
to nitpick
hypocritical.
Saraya.
And she was fed QT trainees.
Sure.
Who would that be?
I don't know. Back then.
Saraya said Britt has only been on camera for 3 years, while Saraya's been in the business 30 years. So she's 30. Oh, and she's 30 years old. Oh, right, because wasn't her mom like pregnant with her or something? And then
Well,
she,
she's
like,
born
wrestled
into
her
a
down.
wrestling family, right? So I think that's the point. Is she's
and
making.
Baker got put on a position.
I don't know.
Well, Baker wasn't born into a
I
wrestling
really
family,
wanted
so-
Britt to get the last word here, and she didn't.
Not even close.
I know.
And professionally 17 years. Saraya told Britt she didn't know what it takes to be a superstar or a star. Saraya talked about how she got hit by a car and wrestled the same day because she loves this business. She told Britt she handed out resumes and got turned down since she was female. Ooh. Female. Saraya claims she started Revolutions before they were a trend. She talked about being in MSG, O2, and Tokyo Dome. I don't know when she'd be in Tokyo Dome, but sure. And now she's standing in front of an ungrateful biatch.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Michael Scott saying the ungrateful biatch hotline. Saraya spoke about how she was publicly humiliated in front of millions of people. Don't remember, but sure.
I believe it, though.
Talked about having a drug addiction, and she gave her career neck for this business. I don't remember how she got injured, so please enlighten me. Saraya told Baker she didn't have a clue what it takes to make it. And she said this will be her comeback starting the biggest match of Britt's career, and she challenges her to Full Gear. And so Baker charged Saraya Duck to hit her package DDT thing, which do you remember what it was called?
Page Turner.
No, that was her other move.
Page something.
The Rampage.
Rampage, right. Right. Because the Page Turner was the, like, lightning spiral kind of.
Yeah, that thing, like that Seidel does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought this was a solid segment because I really like Baker's promo. Like I was like everything she was saying. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
that, yes,
Right.
agreeing, me agreeing,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed
This
it.
is what me agreeing looks like.
Me agree with that
Mhm.
word. And Saraya was like, I don't know, I felt kind of braggy for a babyface, and then it felt like everything I said, I was like, no,
I know.
no, shut up, no.
I think your
And
problem
everything-
with her mind.
Everything just kind of irked me. I don't know how to explain it. Like I was very like, it was very much the
I'll
Taylor
try and
Swift promos
explain
'cause-
it. You might agree.
Because Baker was like, I don't know, everything I disagree with. I thought she was really like, and she has such a mic drop line. And why is like, I don't know. I thought her last night, she kept going, you know what it takes to make it. And I was like, bitch, she's made it.
Yeah,
Like,
you're right.
Are you kidding me?
She's bigger than
And-
you.
Why did she get the mic drop when Baker's ending line was way better? The only cool thing she did was hit the Rampage.
Yeah. And we went back to double check. I described the reaction for Saraya coming out as lukewarm, despite Taz calling it a massive ovation.
No,
I did not see
it was
that.
a somewhat sizable pop.
I will, to be fair, say that when she announced she's cleared, that was a pretty big reaction. So I'm going to be fair. It was.
Yeah, even though who thought otherwise.
Right. So I have little interest in Saraya. I think that's clear. But if it brings back prime heel
Which
Britt
it kind of
Baker,
did.
which I think it is, like we're on that road at least, then it might be worth it, right? But then Britt, to me, and like what you're saying, Britt's the heel here clearly, but I think she's right. You know what I mean? So that's always an awkward position. And so here's my explanation. I'm disconnected from Saraya. She's presented and she speaks like she's a returning legend, right? And I just don't see it. She's
She was good for that
she's
time.
good in the ring. She's fine on the mic. She is not legendary. Just because you've been born into a wrestling family and been around it 30 years, that doesn't mean you are Ric Flair or you're, something like that.
I wouldn't even call it like a big generational, like a multi-generational superstar like Orton. Like I mean, like where he's like
Agree.
Orton's family's big, Rock's family is
Good.
big. Like even like I don't know, I guess DiBiase Jr. Like I mean he wasn't, but like his
No.
dad was.
Right.
Like
So I just
Cody
don't.
Rhodes there.
You're trying to tell me she is this returning legend that we've all been waiting for forever, and she's not. For me, I don't know about other people. The reaction seemed kind of mixed for her.
When I looked at the AEW comments on the one post,
Yeah.
it seemed a little more like your thoughts than I expected. Because I thought people
Right.
were mostly, but like I saw a decent amount of like what we're saying.
So I don't think the segment was bad either, mostly because I just want to see Britt's edge come back, and this is bringing it out in her, so that's great. And we all knew she was cleared to wrestle, or she wouldn't be there engaged in this storyline the way she has been, so that was no surprise. And I will say, I don't think the segment ran too long, and I had feared that it might. So I actually, overall, considering it's more than half Saraya, had not too many problems with this.
Yeah. Next we get a lethal segment thing,
Because that man gets on TV every week.
which is
Who
not
gets
what
more time than him?
I know it's not what I would have expected when he signed.
And it's not even like he wins, really. He's just, they've realized how useful he is, right? So they use him, and it makes sense.
To be fair, he is useful. I
He
think
is.
once Ring of Honor starts up, he'll go back there because
I
he
would
was
think.
primarily Ring of Honor.
They're
for a
probably
while.
like, you can start picking up wins there, bud. Just for now, put on really good matches and let people win.
I mean, to be fair, he did just win.
Yeah, that's true. He wins the odd one. I'd say he wins like 1 out of 4 or something.
Well, we need a buffer with Darby, and also Darby needs to start upping his face paint game.
Yeah.
Like do better.
Mm-hmm.
I need good figures. God. Ugh.
All right, back to the show.
Oh yeah, okay. So they were talking to the factory. TJR just wrote it as occurred to him. He just wrote QT Marshall's group.
Yeah.
Can't blame him.
This was just like factions mashed together, right?
And so they were paying off Cole Carter for that. So cool, I guess. QT Marshall took some of the money out for himself, I guess, and gave a bit to Carter. So
Sure.
okay.
Super
they're
interested
saying
in whatever
next
they
time
do.
half off or whatever. Best friend showed up. QT suggested that Orange Cassidy put up the Atlantic title against Lee Johnson because he's in the factory. Like
And a contender for anything?
ever.
Right.
Cassidy said yes. Cool. Apparently that match was solid.
Yeah, I don't think Lee Johnson's bad. You like him less than I do. It's just like he's been invisible forever, unless I guess you're watching internet
he
stuff.
returned and joined the factory. And I was like, sure.
So I don't know. I thought this was a weird segment with
and then
multiple
after
factions.
yeah,
together.
Lethal was calling them scumbags. Or sorry, Trent Beretta, as I will always refer to him as. He called Jay Lethal's group scumbags. And then Jay asked if he wanted to do something about it, and Trent Beretta said he'll fight him on Dynamite. So yeah.
Yeah, it was short. It was fine.
It was fine. Since when was Lee Johnson in the factory though?
I don't know. I don't even know. The factory is such an afterthought. I don't really spend much time thinking about them, frankly.
Where's our boy Gut Punch?
He's a go-go?
Yeah.
I don't know where he is. But I think it's because that move is just far too devastating, so they can't even have him in the ring with their talent.
Right.
Because that gut punch will take years off your life, right? And your career. So
well, he would
you don't
just
wanna
be
risk that.
undefeated forever.
Correct.
So
That too. They have to
can't
decide,
that.
do we want him as our champion forever, infinitely? And I guess the answer was no.
I guess so, right? Because
Yeah.
like if you do that, like I don't know, it just kind of puts you in an awkward position.
What
Kind of
was
like
it? What was
the
that?
Wardlow times a million.
Was that the weigh-in that was one of my all-time least favorite AEW segments?
Yep.
Has to be up there, right?
It was that.
It was painful.
The most patriotic promo of all time.
That ended racism?
The promo to end racism.
Right.
Featuring the baby to end racism.
Correct.
and
And
then
the funny thing is, like, we're only exaggerating slightly, right? If people haven't seen that stuff, like, we are exaggerating, but not as much as you would think when we say it's
the way
baby
he
to
was
end
talking about it
racism.
is like,
Yes.
oh, that's my favorite running joke. It's the baby to end racism. There's that, and then there's the number 5 rankings, which
Yes.
is, yeah, someone say the feud to end racism.
Correct.
So like, I mean, he was a heel, a babyface heel this year, but god damn it, he was a babyface last year. Red, white, and blue, baby.
Some classic stuff.
Yes. I'm surprised when he won the TNT title, he didn't make it like all like an American flag looking thing, or like you do like a black and white design, so it's like,
Like a yin and yang
the
symbol.
championship to end racism,
Right.
like the title reign to end racism. Like Cody, that should have been Cody Rhodes' gimmick. Like, I don't, like, missed opportunity, I guess.
I guess that's why he left.
Wait, and so his dad was the American Dream when dreams could be like, all,
I have a dream.
white, and peachy.
Could have been the Martin Luther King.
Oh my god. I have an American dream.
Oh, they left money on the table there.
Oh, that'd be good. Or like nightmare would be like dark, and then dreams would be like light, and then balances out. See, ending dream racism.
Right.
No.
Sorry, digression. It happens with us sometimes.
And he's got people of color like Jay Lethal employed. So
right.
Boom.
Perfect.
Jay Lethal versus Trent Beretta next up. So Lethal attacked Trent Beretta on the ramp. The chop block. I think at one point he sent him in the stairs, and he just went flying over, which always looks goofy.
Yeah.
So he targets the knee with kicks and then shin breaker dragon screw, which is a pretty nice combination. A half and half by Beretta, which looked pretty nice.
It did.
Avalanche half and half, and then running knee, which just turned Lethal inside out.
Looked
I remember that reminded me of when Guevara was TNT champion. Lethal faced him for the title.
Lethal's
and
good.
He took one of those pump knees. I remember you thought it looked funny because the way he sold it pretty good.
Yes.
He just kind of went like flopping.
Yes.
Off the distraction from his peeps, Lethal wins with a lethal injection. He kind of did like a fireman's carry spin where he just like dropped him on his stomach, and then as he was getting up, he did a lethal injection, which I liked because it makes him look less dumb.
100%.
It's not even like a move that's impactful, but it's just like a setup move, which I think is perfect.
Because he's going to get up in a manner that allows you to
because that's not like
correct.
That's not a move meant to do much.
Correct.
So I think that was perfect. I remember
sometimes they do look silly, a little silly,
exactly.
waiting for it. Yeah, you're right.
Which I remember seeing the clip of that. I was like, I kind of like that.
Me too.
Like it's just like that's
he should add that every time.
That's a little touch, like unless like he's catching someone with it.
Yes.
Like I think that was a smart decision.
Yep.
Post match Dot was saying they delivered last week with their good friend Jeff Jarrett. He comes in, and so here's what I wrote.
Yep.
Insert notes about Jeff Jarrett promo here, unless I forgot.
Did you forget?
Yep.
Nice.
Well, I remembered, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
He kind of sounded for me like a baby face because it was like, I've known this guy since this, and I've done this. And it's like you're wearing this heel stuff, and you're all black cowboy
the last
nonsense.
outlaw.
Right. And
all
so
what you're saying in third person.
It just didn't work for me. I don't know. But the match, Lethal, I think quietly, right, has had a really good year, especially since coming to AEW. I like the pre-match attack because that's a simple story to tell in that match, right? You've got he's going to attack that
and
weakness.
It kind of follows the trend, like with them.
And Trent can be the resilient babyface. So I love
with
that.
Them like attacking Darby, so it kind of continues that.
Right. So quick, solid match with Lethal doing some good selling along here. And my notes say Jarrett needs to stay backstage. It's 2022, and the roster's full of people who can't get on TV. Dresses a heel, associates with heels. Sounds like a basic babyface for most of this here. That is all.
Mm-hmm. Match was solid. Lethal did a solid job of targeting the knee, but there wasn't a whole lot else. Trent Beretta looked a little dumb, but in the finish, but it was solid. Oh wait, no, he didn't. Never mind. The post match was lame. Like, who cares? Jarrett's promo was boring. I don't give a crap. Tag match for Full Gear, no thank you. Tack that up with all the Sting pay-per-view matches I don't want, and also the Paul White match I didn't want.
Right.
Next we get Jungle Boy interview. He says Cage and Luchasaurus said that they were done with him, but they don't get to decide that. He says it's far from over. He says he has a challenge for them at Full Gear, but he'll tell them at Rampage. It's a cage match.
Building some intrigue, I guess. Jungle Boy sounded fine, but we all knew this feud wasn't over, right? Mm-hmm. So this isn't new information, but it was fine. It was quick.
So yeah, it should be cool. It was quick, but it was solid. Next we get Moxley speaking. He says he was around 25, or so this is in the ring.
With Regal.
He was around 25 when Regal met him. Back then he thought he knew it all. He loved to talk trash from his mouth. He wanted to be like Regal and be feared and respected. And to get that respect, he tried to pick a fight with Regal, and it didn't go well, where he got the crap kicked out of him, which pissed him off because it showed him where he was in the food chain. He says he worked his ass off, so next time he beat Regal, knocked him out. And then Regal said the real work begins. And he said that reminds them of MJF because in the summer of 2020, MJF challenged him, thought he knew it all, and Mox torched him. And he says MJF has come back around, and what's different this time? He talks about how MJF portrays himself in all things he says he is, and he kind of dismisses those. And he says MJF isn't even close to being the devil. He says he and Regal do want him to fulfill his potential one day, but he wants to see what's in his guts, and he'll bring it out of him. He says he wants him to remember everything up until this point has been easy.
Yeah, and then literally mic drop, right? I think after that. I thought Mox's tone was different to start here, and I liked it. It was like you used the word too, it was dismissive of MJF, right? Like you say, he had a little smirk on his face even at one point, right? Like you say you're all these things, that you're rich and that you're a pillar of this company, and kind of like, you really haven't done anything, bud, kind of idea. So because I think MJF's character, that kind of treatment would drive him crazy, right? Like being dismissed.
Right, yeah, you were talking to me about that.
So I think that makes a lot of sense here. And then, of course, Mox finish up. He shifts to more intense Mox and sort of gets into promote the match mode, which I think is always smart, right? He's just as consistent on the mic as you're going to get. And I thought this was a good segment and felt like the perfect length to me. Like, this is something in WWE that they would have gone like an extra few minutes, that I would have been like, it's good, but it could have been a few minutes shorter. Here, I thought this was a good length, and I quite liked it. Regal didn't really do anything, but the segment was good.
Yeah, I thought another good promo from Mox. Never tired saying that, because it's just always the case. It's kind of
so consistent.
The bare minimum to say is always good. I like this comparison of his young self to MJF, because when I thought about it, it actually kind of made sense. You can kind of see the connection there. I like him just calmly being like, no to all the MJF things, like just kind of saying like he's dealt with worse. And I think overall it was another great one from Mox. They're building this match really well, I think.
Agree.
Despite that confusion in MJF, but I guess we'll kind of see what
I'm sure it will become clear at the pay-per-view, or at least that's what I hope happens.
So then next we get an Elite vignette. It seems to hint at them a Full Gear. It was like Full Gear graphics and stuff, and then there's fast photo spins of the Elite. You could see actually flashes of CM Punk, Kevin Owens, and Cody and Balor.
And clock imagery as like the countdown is like the time is coming.
I think they're coming to Full Gear, I guess.
I thought this was really cool.
Again, another really cool vignette that explains nothing. You get nothing from
not
this.
one word spoken, but you kind of get an idea. But you're left to sort of be like, it kind of looks like they're coming back soon, but who knows? So I don't know. I thought it was really cool presentation, and just a really quick, slick way to remind us that you're not wasting their big reaction, right? You're just kind of building to it with these little. It's kind of like the whole, we know CM Punk is coming, right? But we're not 100%. So it's smart, and I thought it looked really slick.
Oh, you're comparing them to CM Punk.
Well, not only in that we know it's happening, but we don't know what's happening, sort of deal, right?
CM
that they did really well.
CM Punk.
I've heard of him. Carry on. Or cough violently.
Next we get Bryan Danielson Guevara package. Guevara saying he has Danielson's number now, and this time will be different. I mean, it kind of has to be different, being 2 or 3 falls and all, but
yep.
I digress. Danielson's angry about all the disrespect. He'll take it on Guevara, kick his head, and blah blah.
Danielson almost gave me chills with this, man. He was super, like, I loved it. It felt real to me, right? That he is tired of all of this nonsense, and he's moving on, and I thought he was fantastic here.
I thought that was really good.
Guevara didn't get to say too much. I thought Danielson killed this. He just feels real, man. The dude is real.
Danielson was awesome here, and then we moved to Jamie Hayter, Sky Blue.
Hey, this is our women's match.
Yeah.
It's got Sky Blue in it.
Yay.
No offense to Sky Blue. This is your only women's match.
Yeah.
With Sky Blue in it. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. So there was a backbreaker splitter suplex by Hayter, which was pretty cool.
She's awesome.
Just win with the backbreaker, goddammit. And then there was call it Code Blue, because that just seems to make sense.
Yeah, look, that was cool.
Yeah, the way it was set up was really stupid.
Right, but the actual move, the way she got there, looked good.
Yeah. So that got a 2 count. Hayter won with the ripcord lariat.
That's it, eh?
It was fine, but again, low tier women's match marked by a commercial break with a short run time and low card talent. No 0 build. Hayter looked solid. Thought Sky Blue was okay at best. Guess he's up Hayter a bit, but it was just fine.
Yeah, it got more time than I expected. So because of that, on one level, I'm annoyed that Hayter, to me, who they're trying to build as a main eventer, and I think they should, she had some trouble with someone like Sky Blue, right? But in the early going, it was because Blue ran her into the ring post, which I thought Hayter made look really good. So that gave Blue an advantage, which made sense. And then I think it was also thrown in that like Hayter was a little bit distracted because Tony Storm came to ringside with Sky Blue, right? So that was throwing her off a little bit. Hayter's offense is crisp and impactful. I think she's really cool. I'm not sure that she'll beat Tony Storm, and I don't think she will. But I think she's a future champion. Like she's somebody I would keep at the near the top of that card. And the crowd, it's almost like they missed their chance because the crowd was really into her for a few weeks, right? It seems to have cooled off a little bit, but I still think she's awesome. And again, this was your only women's match. And yes, it got a 3-minute commercial break in the middle there. So good for Hayter. She's cool. Sky Blue is fine. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Next.
Brian Cage dominated Martin package. Speaking of Sky Blue, because this is her guy.
And I was just like, oh boy, this is two guys that struggle cutting promos. So this could be fun, but it was pretty brief.
Yeah, so Cage says Martin is once in a generation talent, but Cage is once in a lifetime, and he ain't better than Cage.
Hold on. Is once in a generation worse than once in a lifetime? Is that different? What's the distinction there?
Just there hit me as you said that. Multiple generations in a lifetime, I guess.
I guess? I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Because, I mean, Shawn Michaels, for example,
but isn't
worked through multiple generations.
Your generation, your lifetime? I don't know. Smarter people than I will have to.
Transcends generations, I guess.
I guess. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. It just hit me when you said that. Like, wait, is one really that much better than the other?
I guess so.
Okay. We'll trust Cage.
I mean, he is a machine.
He is a machine, and a machine would know the technical difference.
That's why they call him Cage.
Right.
Martin says the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Cage will find it out the hard way. He says he isn't just a man, he's a machine. And that's why they call him Cage.
Yeah. So they kept it short. They both sounded fine, which is the best you can hope for out of them. So.
Yeah, they're never the strongest, but this is solid.
Yep. Tired, man? Need to go to bed sooner.
Maybe.
Or become a true man in our family and nap whenever the opportunity arises. Me, my dad, my grandfather, peak nappers. We are professional. You know me. I'm a great napper. Give me 20 minutes, boom, I'm back, full charge. Let's go. Sorry, go ahead.
So next main event, Danielson, Guevara, 2-3 falls.
I almost used our last name on that when I said that. When I was going to say become a true man. I almost used our last name.
And that's bad because...
Well, I don't know. We're 121 episodes in and I've never revealed my name. Because that's just how I am. I don't know. Your name's on it every week.
Would you like me to say
No,
it?
I would not. You can keep that to yourself.
How's that fair?
I don't know. It's just the way it is. I always just say I am your host, right? I don't know.
That's not fair.
I just never have. Probably never will because I'm weird.
I'm going to get you one day.
Probably. Anyways, go ahead.
I feel like I've done that before, but...
I don't think you have because I listened back to almost every episode. Not in its entirety, I guess. So
you could just edit it out.
I could, but I'm not that motivated. Depends.
Oh, well, then I think my solution would be to say it in so many times in vital scenarios where you can't cut it out.
In the middle of something important, just yell it.
I'll be reporting a news story, and then I'll just shout your name.
And then I'll get better at audio engineering and find a way to. No, I won't.
I'll just say it at every turn.
Yeah, constantly.
It'll be constant.
Or you'll like break into where I post it and change the description to just my name 40 times in a row.
Episode 122 featuring
this guy, aka this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
AKA Jack and father name.
Yep. Insert dad's name.
There's a diving shotgun dropkick by Danielson. Danielson got the first fall as Ty Mello was standing in his way to protect Guevara.
Did you mention
Guevara just flung a chair at him?
Did you mention Archer Starks?
Nope.
Archer kills Starks. That's it. Throws him into a garage door, blah, blah, blah. Archer's back.
Archer still exists.
Yes, the throwing of the chair in the face was like, it was awesome. It looked great.
They actually called a DQ there.
And I was really happy for that because I'm like, you can't ignore that. Although they did ignore the aftermath, which I found.
With the mic, yeah. But like, because I don't know, I guess it's discretion, but like,
I guess
that's
they're
probably
considering
bad
it
discretion.
Or all one thing, maybe. I don't know. That's whole one DQable offense. But he had already been DQ'd. And then he kept DQ'd. And then he hit him in the face with a microphone and didn't get DQ'd. So anyways, whatever. That's my only complaint about this, pretty much.
Yes. after being controlled, commercial break, Guevara gets the next fall with a pump knee and just killed him with a GTH.
Drilled it.
Drilling him. Yes, like
Looked awesome. Like
sometimes
for a second, I was like, is Danielson okay? He shouldn't be taking
I
knees
love
to the
that
head.
move. It's so good. I remember Dijakovic used to do it.
Yeah.
The feast your eyes, but Guevara does it so much better. I don't know.
This one looked amazing.
He just kills them sometimes. I don't know, but it's just it's so and it works so well when he's a heel too, because it's just the go to hell is just that's just funny.
Nailed this one.
And the take on the GTS is just it's so funny. So it's great. Danielson misses a diving headbutt, and then Guevara locks him in a crossface, gets a rope break. Danielson catches Guevara mid-air with the psycho knees, and they're both down, which is pretty cool.
Ripped really good, yeah.
Danielson suplexes Guevara into the corner, and then he nails him in the tree of woe, which is kind of interesting.
Don't think I've ever seen that. Like, just suplex him back onto the top, and then Guevara ended up hanging perfectly.
And then he does like the yes kicks in the tree of woe, which is pretty cool. Shooting star to the outside, Guevara didn't get all of it, but that's because it's a pretty ambitious.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Sammy, why? You're just how long's your career gonna be if you keep doing stuff like this? He has no fear, I don't think. And it's funny because he's like this handsome, clean-cut kid, right? But he doesn't look like a guy who has zero fear.
Stuff like Darby does.
Yeah.
So, and then Guevara goes for a diving cutter, then gets caught by Danielson in the label lock, but he gets a rope break. Guevara counters the psycho knee in the Boston Crab until a rope break, which is pretty cool.
Well, he went full lion tamer on it.
Oh yeah.
It looked awesome. Yeah.
Danielson nails Guevara with the knee later on, which looked pretty gnarly. Moonsault ET by Guevara, which is pretty cool. And then he tries to fall with a swanton.
Yeah, that was
Danielson
cool.
gets the knees up, rains down elbows, and then the finish comes when he transitions into the label lock. But Guevara tries to get a rope break, so then he locks in the other arm, modifying it, and Guevara does like a verbal submission.
Looked awesome. The finishing stretch there. Excellent match, man. I really like this. It's kind of a cool dynamic, right? Because you've got the high-flying heel and a technical babyface, so it's kind of reversed of what it normally is. And I think Sammy is a really good talent. And then if you put him in a match with someone like Danielson can make him great in a match like this, right? So even though the result was never in doubt, I really got into this match. And I think Sammy's like the perfect, like almost main eventer to have matches like this. And I'm just like, let's get Danielson on a roll. This angry, bitter Danielson, get him some gold somewhere down the line. So I thought this was a fantastic finish to the show. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought this was a fantastic main event. I thought it was great. I think it was even better than the first one, and the first one was really good too. I think these guys just have good chemistry together. I think we can safely say that these guys just work well together. It's a nice style clash, just works. And I think the way they scored the falls was nice because I think they did a solid job of it without it kind of feeling like every other 2-3 falls match. Because sometimes there's only so many tropes you can do.
Yes.
In this, because at least to me, it feels like Sammy's whole tactic of sacrificing the fall to do more damage. It seems like you only ever see that in an Iron Man match where there's more falls to lose.
Yeah.
So I think doing it here was kind of interesting.
And it's definitely a risky strategy, right? Because now you're one move away from losing the match for sure.
Exactly, which makes it different from an Iron Man. And so I think the styles match well again here. A lot of cool back and forth encounters. Finish was done really well too. Great way to end the show. And Guevara looks great again because that's not really unordinary for Danielson.
Yep. Overall, I guess, time. I'm just kind of compiling my thoughts as we went over it fresh here. I would say opener, really good. Main event, fantastic. Trent Lethal was solid. Hater Blue was solid. Segment-wise, MJF had a good promo. Mox had a good promo. The Baker Saraya segment I thought was pretty solid. The Elite vignette was cool. So there was a lot of stuff I liked about this show. I don't feel like it was quite into A territory for me, but it was pretty close. So that would mean, obviously, I think this is a pretty easy B+ episode of Dynamite for me. I quite enjoyed it, but not quite at that A-level show. If one of the other matches was really good, that would probably bump it in there, but still a really good episode, a B+ for me. And you?
So I think it was a pretty good show. It definitely upgraded from last week.
I agree.
The main event was stellar. I think Mox and MJF both had great promos. Opener was solid. Baker Saraya was solid. Lethal Beretta was solid. Open challenge
Solid.
was meh. I thought Paige Kingston was pretty good. Women's match was there.
Yep. I thought
So
it
I
was
think
okay.
generally I think it was a pretty good show. I think I'd give it a B.
Yeah, fair.
I think it was good.
Nice for the rebound from a
Yes.
weak episode last week,
Yeah.
for sure. All right, well, that's wrapping up our Dynamite review. We'll move into our trivia section. We'll challenge Jack with some trivia in what we like to call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so I'm kind of pumped for the trivia this week because I made it. I found a list, but then I went and found the details. So some weeks I just don't have the time or inclination to get involved in making them, and some of the ones I find aren't always the best. So I think this one's good, and you did sort of foreshadow it a little bit. So this is new WWE match types introduced since 2010. Okay. Now, first question, just you wouldn't know, but it's just for you to guess. How many new match types do you think have been introduced since 2010? Because I was very surprised by this.
7.
18,
What?
right? So, sorry, what did I say? Match types? I mean, is that what I mean?
Yeah.
No,
What do you mean?
no, I mean pay-per-views, sorry.
Oh.
Okay, so new,
Okay.
I don't know why, I even wrote match types because I'm dumb.
I was gonna say
Pay-per-views.
Fight Pit.
So even that, 18 new pay-per-views
Okay,
since
sure.
2010?
No, I could do that.
Okay, so
Can I just
first,
list them?
sorry, can you what?
Can I just rhyme them off? Because I could do that.
No, you have to get the clues at least, because I went through I literally
Aw.
went through every Wikipedia entry and found clues for them. You probably won't need more than one, but allow me to read
I could
all before
totally.
we move on, because I did work this time, okay?
Is it in order or?
From 2010, would you rather go current back or 2010 forward?
I'll do current back. I usually do that.
Making me go backwards. Okay, so let me get
That's
down
what I usually do.
to the bottom of my document here. All right, so this shouldn't be super hard starting here. So 2022 to be held annually on New Year's Day.
Day 1.
Right. So its scheduling also caused the cancellation of TLC events, which were usually held in late December. So
Which is also a gimmick show, so who cares?
that was my other clue. 2021, WWE's first pay-per-view to present the Thunderdome due to COVID.
Payback? Wait, no.
Nope. In the main event, Roman Reigns defeated Cesaro by technical
Oh,
submission.
WrestleMania Backlash.
Correct. In another,
All right, that was new. Wait, what about Clash at the Castle?
any other, it's not.
No?
No, not
Alright.
in there. Any other matches you remember from that? Because I listed a bunch here. Not
Mysterios versus Dirty Dogs.
Okay, that's correct. What about the triple threat match
Oh, right,
for
yeah.
the Raw
I remember.
champ
Now I remember
Who's
that. That was Strowman's last match before he returned.
against who?
Lashes and McIntyre.
Correct. All right, 2019, a one-off event that replaced Backlash for 2019, and before Backlash was reinstated in 2020. In the main event,
Stomping Grounds.
correct. Main event, do you remember? No
Um,
count-out DQ match to retain the Universal Championship.
Yeah, it was
Your boy.
Rollins and Corbin.
Correct.
Lacey Evans, special guest ref.
Correct. Other match, steel cage match for WWE Championship.
Kingston Ziggler.
Correct.
Samoa Joe Ricochet.
That is right. For what?
U.S. title.
Correct. And then Roman and Drew was the other match. So
That
I
makes
figured
sense.
this would be
Mania rematch.
a chance for you to flex your knowledge. Not only will you know the pay-per-view, but you'll know half the card. So
Rollins, baby.
2018, second event WWE held in.
Crown Jewel.
Correct.
Greatest Royal Rumble is the other one, probably.
Correct. So in the main event
For which one?
for Crown Jewel 2018.
DX and Brothers of Destruction. Which
Correct.
was amazing.
And then we also had
Super Showdown.
WWE World Cup final.
Oh, right. McMahon, Shane, and Ziggler, I think.
Correct.
Ziggles.
The Bar SmackDown Tag
Oh, yeah,
Championships.
New Day.
Correct.
Bar with Big Show.
Very good. 2018 as well.
Super Showdown.
Women's Professional Wrestling.
Oh,
pay-per-view.
Evolution.
Correct. So main event. Oh my God, I forgot.
What's
That
it?
sounds awful.
Oh, I should know.
Someone who's still there and prominent versus someone who's gone.
Was it Ronda and
Yes.
Nikki Bella?
Correct.
That was the main event.
And then we had a last women's standing match.
Becky and Charlotte.
Correct.
There was like a battle royal, I think.
Mae Young Classic final.
Right, Io and Tony.
Correct.
So-
And first two-time NXT Women's Champ.
Right, Baszler and Kairi Sane, Twitter Falls.
Correct.
Baszler, baby.
2018 again. There's a lot of them in 2018. Held for wrestlers from Raw and SmackDown and 205 Live and took place in Australia.
Super Showdown.
Correct. Main event.
Ziggler think last time or whatever the billing was, Triple H and Taker, no holds barred.
Correct.
There was Murphy beating Alexander for the cruiserweight title.
I didn't go that deep.
Iconics beat somebody.
Didn't go that deep either. I did have one for
Samoa Joe, AJ Styles.
I had one for what was the SmackDown Championship, WWE. Who was that? Do you
Yeah.
remember?
Wait, what? What SmackDown title?
The SmackDown WWE Championship.
I just said Styles and Joe.
No. According to this, it's Brian Miz.
That wasn't for any titles.
And the Shield.
Shield. Oh yeah, versus the air quotes Dogs of War, which was Strowman, Ziggler, and McIntyre.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure Miz and Brian was non-title.
Also, 2018 took place in Saudi Arabia.
Greatest Royal Rumble.
Main event.
The 50-man Rumble.
Won by
Strowman.
Universal Championship match.
Cage match. Roman Brock, which was the weird finish.
Good.
There was a 4-way ladder, which was Rollins, Balor, Miz, Joe.
Double countout match between.
Oh yeah, Nakamura and Styles.
Wow, you know a lot of stuff.
Is there anything else?
Nope. We're out of 2018 into 2017.
Great Balls of Fire.
Correct.
Yeah. Best one.
Exclusively for wrestlers from which brand?
Raw.
Correct. Main event.
Um.
Universal Championship match.
Oh right, Brock and Joe.
Correct.
There's the tag Iron Man, right? Hardy's and Bar.
Ambulance match between who?
Strowman and Roman.
Great.
Classic
and tag
feud.
team match.
Did I just say that?
I don't know what did
Iron
you
Man?
say. Oh yeah, who was it?
Hardy's in the Bar.
Correct. All right, 2016 took place.
Roadblock on the line.
Yes, took place where then?
Like what? What do you mean where?
What city?
I don't know.
Ricoh Coliseum, Toronto, Ontario. Same place we were.
That's weird because they were in Toronto for no Survivor Series too.
The event was a reference to Road to WrestleMania. Main event saw.
Was that Roman and Kevin Owens?
Nope.
That wasn't the main event. Oh, Charlotte and Sasha.
Nope.
What?
For the World Heavyweight Championship.
Universal?
It just says WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
No, that's not right.
It was
a Raw pay-per-view.
Triple H.
Oh, that Roadblock.
I don't know. Roadblock, end of the line.
Okay, so no, that's not right. Because
oh boy,
here's how it was.
This is
right?
why we do this trivia section, folks. He knows more than what's posted online. Go ahead.
The Roadblock end of the line is right, but it's kind of weird because they did the one you're thinking of is Roadblock, not end of the line, just Roadblock.
Okay.
Which was Toronto, and it was one of those kind of glorified house show kind of things.
Oh, okay.
But it was a pay-per-view. It was, I don't know, it was kind of like a low tier. It was like a C tier pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Think of it like that. And so it was the main event, which was Ambrose and Triple H.
Correct.
But then they did like a full-on like B pay-per-view, which was the end of the year, which is the one I thought you were talking about.
No.
That was Roadblock in the line, which had like Roman Owens,
Gotcha.
Sasha, Charlotte. That was when the Bar broke New Day's record run.
Right. Okay.
So stuff like that. They did 2 Roadblocks,
You
so
know
it's
a lot
kind
of
of confusing.
stuff. That is for sure.
I think also on this one there was Natalya and Charlotte, I want to say. That's the only one I remember.
2015 replaced Elimination Chamber in February.
Fastlane.
Correct.
Right, that was the first Fastlane.
These are all firsts, right? So main event?
Oh, no. Was it Roman and Bryan?
Yes.
Nice.
And then U.S. Championship match is the only other one I had.
Rusev.
Correct. My goodness, son. 2013, I guess nothing new happened in 14. So 2013 replaced Over the Limit. Correct. Don't even need clues. Main event for the vacant WWE Championship.
Orton and Bryan.
Correct.
Also,
how did it end? That's the only
was there like
information I
double
have.
count out or like a
No
DQ?
contest.
Yeah.
Big Show interfered.
Right.
Attacked Bryan.
Then there's also Rhodes Shield.
Oh yeah. All right.
For their
2013 still. Replaced WWE's previously well-known event No Way Out.
Was this first Elimination Chamber then?
No.
Really?
That's not 2013. Oh, sorry, never mind. We'll get there, I think. The concept, I don't want to say that because that'll give it away. Main event, John Cena retained the championship against Ryback in a 3 stages of hell.
Was this Extreme Rules?
No.
Payback?
Yes.
Nice.
Very good. Alberto Del Rio defeated.
Rob Van Dam.
No. For the World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, Ziggles?
Correct. And your boy, Punk was on there. Defeated who?
Defeated my boy?
Jericho. No, Punk's your boy.
Oh.
Just kidding. 2011 took place in Washington, D.C.
Oh, Capital Punishment.
And it was a one-off event. I knew the Washington would be it. That was the hint there. Main event? Wow,
Oh,
really?
wait, was it Orton and Christian, or was it
No.
the other one? Was it Punk?
No. Now, again, you could be wrong. It says for the WWE Championship,
Okay.
Cena defeated.
No, that sounds right. Cena, Del Rio,
No. Go way down the card, in my opinion.
2011. Oh, Miz.
No. He just hurt
Truth.
himself on NXT, yeah.
Oh no, that is right. That is right. I forgot about that, but that was when Truth was kind of pushed.
So Orton defeated who for
Christian.
right? And then, WWE Intercontinental match. Wow.
Ezekiel Jackson
Correct.
beat Barrett.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember
And the
that.
U.S.
but
Championship, did you say that one?
Was that Ziggler and Kofi?
It was. You, sir, are a wrestling nerd. No offense. I mean that in the nicest way
Especially in the
possible.
roadblock bit. That was weird because they did 2 roadblocks. It was dumb.
This included 2010, 2 ladder matches, one for each brand.
Money in the Bank, baby.
Correct.
That is true. That was the first Money in the Bank.
And there's a lot of details on that. Yeah, before that, it had just been at Mania, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was also a Mania in that year, so there's 3 Money in the Banks that year.
Right. 2010.
Fatal 4-way?
No. Main event.
That is one. Though.
Main match from Raw. Cena faced Batista in an I Quit match.
This is the first Extreme Rules.
No. Big Show versus World Heavyweight Champion Jack Swagger was the main event from SmackDown, and that's all I have. I remember the graphic the most of it.
I remember.
I think it was like a speedometer in a car.
Over the limit.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't know why I remember that. It's a weird detail to remember.
I mean, that's right.
Yeah. And the final one,
4-way.
2010.
Fatal 4-way.
In 2009, WWE held a poll on their official website to allow fans to choose the name for their February 2010 pay-per-view. The main event was a multi-man match.
Chamber.
Correct. This is the first elimination.
Where's Fatal 4-way?
I don't know.
That was 2010.
So
okay,
who was in it?
Wait. Oh, I don't know. Cena.
No.
Was he the main event one or no?
It says the
World Heavyweight?
main event was the SmackDown Elimination Chamber. So who would that be? That's the only one I got down. SmackDown 2010.
Jericho?
Correct.
Taker.
Correct.
That's all I got.
R-Truth, Mysterio, Morrison, Punk.
Yeah, and Punk. Or
Punk
sorry,
won, right?
No, sorry. Jericho won because I meant to say Michaels.
Oh,
Michaels
Elimination
costume.
Chamber. I was like, what? I was thinking Money in the Bank.
No.
In my
Punk
brain.
won. Well, no, Punk didn't even win Money in the Bank that year. That was 09. I remember
Right.
some other ones too. There was Fatal 4-way, and then I remember in 2009 that was first TLC.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the first Extreme Rules. They also did Breaking Point.
It did go back that far. Like, I can look it up.
Okay, do that. I can do it.
You're robbing me of using it again, though, which would have been fun.
Yeah, that's true. But I already know. There's I think there's TLC Extreme Rules, Breaking Point, which was all submissions, I Quit stuff. I think they also did Bragging Rights.
Why can't it? It's not giving me the option of seeing the answers, so hold on.
Weird.
But yes, clearly you know very much. Oh, that's what I have to do that, and then do this, and it should tell me. Okay,
02
so
or 03 was
sorry, you're going back. 2009 is... Wow, there was a lot. Tables, ladders, chairs.
Yeah.
Bragging rights.
Is Extreme Rules there, or is that... Otherwise, it would be 2010.
Hell in a Cell.
On a Cell, really? That makes sense.
Breaking Point. The Bash.
Oh, yes.
Extreme Rules.
The Bash, because that was adapted from Great American Bash.
2008, there's only one. Night of Champions.
Ah.
And then a whole bunch more as we go back further. But anyways, I would say that you absolutely crushed that. Did you like that one?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a good one where I contributed on that one. So you absolutely smashed it, and people get to see the depth of your wrestling knowledge, which is the plan of that segment. But now we're going to move into where we kind of discuss anything else we watched from the world of wrestling, anything we liked and didn't like in a segment we like to call Highspots and Restholds. All right, so I'm going to start like I always do with NXT. And I said earlier, right, like NXT started off pretty strong this week. And then by the end, it was that mixed bag that I seem to be getting post 2.0, but still better than 2.0. So one high spot for me was the opening match between Joe Gacy and Cameron Grimes. And I actually thought Grimes looked fantastic in this match, sort of a reminder of how good that guy is in the ring. And Gacy's a solid performer too, right? So
Yeah.
he comes from the indies. He's not a rookie or anything. So this was a very good opener, I thought. As expected, The Rock's daughter, I forget her.
Ava Rain.
Right. She's there to be on TV. So she interfered, shoved Grimes off the top.
Apparently, he's maybe main rostering soon.
That is in my notes here. Yeah, the Gacy won this 11-minute match with his handspring clothesline directly after the interference
I feel
by.
like there's a name for that they said.
Sorry,
I
as you
feel
put
like there was a name for that.
There
that they
is.
said.
It's like the upside down, I think, which I don't like, so I don't say it. It's much like you and the whatever one you won't say. Isn't there a finisher that you don't like to say? I don't know. Anyways, and yes, rumors of Grimes on his way to main roster. So good start to the show. Another high spot, because this is all the first few things on this show. So this is why I was kind of hyped for the first like 40 minutes. So this is Axiom, Fraser, and McDonough are interacting backstage. It's basically Fraser, I think, coming out of their medical room or whatever, and that he's basically a little bit. He's got injured from the match they had, so Axiom is there just sort of encouraging Fraser, and McDonough walks up and interrupts. And McDonough immediately diagnoses Fraser's injury as whatever, because that's his gimmick right now. Is he's this like
I should have chicken noodle soup with my booster juice.
He's a master of the like human anatomy and whatnot. So Axiom then sort of ends up mocking McDonough for getting all these big matches and never following through. And obviously that's going to lead to McDonough Axiom tonight. So I really liked Axiom and McDonough's interaction. I just wish Axiom would lose the mask and maybe the whole gimmick.
Because A-Kid was solid.
A-Kid,
I mean,
if you don't want him to be A-Kid, fine.
That's true.
Rename him.
They kind of did that with Devlin.
Right? And having the word kid in your name is not good for a long career, right? At some point.
Like when they got rid of Buddy Murphy. Although I don't even think that was bad, but
right.
I digress.
So good interaction here. Just lose the mask, please. Another high spot.
I do really hate that mask.
Right after that was Carmelo and Trick are back in the barber shop, which I kind of like. Basically talking about how Melo should have never lost the title. They do spend some time putting over Wes Lee as being really talented, whatever, but refer to him as a paper champion because it shouldn't be his title, which is kind of fair. Basically, they go back.
I mean, that's not even like a crazy thing to say.
No, they kind of go back and forth, and then there's obviously their entourage kind of in the barbershop chipping in here and there. So we're going to get a contract signing between Melo and Wesley next week, and then a match between the two in 2 weeks, which could be an awesome match. So I'm fine with that. And I just think these segments are really cool, and it gives, like you were saying about MJF, right? It gives Melo and Trick a different location that's just theirs to showcase their personalities. And now that Trick Williams is awesome, other than in the ring, I thought this was really fun. And yeah, they just have a signature place to go, right? Then that was the end of the high spots. We get a rest hold because we're back in the arena and the lights go out, and we get a message from Scripps on the screen.
Oh, again.
As well as him providing a voiceover. So it basically is that he or she is coming to NXT soon. And it's just, for me personally, I haven't seen what the public thinks, but there's too much suspension of disbelief here, right? Like, I like things to feel real.
Yeah.
And the idea that this guy's got control of the Tron and the audio system in this when NXT technically doesn't want him there or whatever is just a bridge too far for me. So I find these kind of silly and closer to comedy than being really serious. Sorry, just picking that up off the floor there for a second. Then we go right into another rest hold for me, which is Elektra. Imagine this match. Picture it, okay? Elektra Lopez and Sol Ruca.
Oh.
So you have an inexperienced powerhouse in Lopez taking on like a infinitely less experienced, I would say, gymnast. So 3 minutes of weak action. Ruca is cool look, super athletic, can't wrestle. That would be my summary. So not great. Then we get a bit of a high spot. Indy Hartwell's finally turning heel and actually showed a bit of edge. And it's the classic wrestling thing, right? She now has to be dressed in all black vinyl or leather or whatever, right? Of course.
Like Cora Jade, just like magically
changed. So your personality changes and your wardrobe changes at the same time. So basically, I like this because she's kind of been lost and meandering, right? Since the Way left and Loomis left for main roster. This is by far the most interesting she's been in.
You know,
months.
Loomis came back for like a second and then just like,
right.
Bye.
And then was gone. Rest hold, boy, oh boy, JC Jane's acting. Holy cow. So
like at the Halloween Havoc.
So Toxic Attraction keep doing these scenes where they're like FaceTiming each other or whatever, which is a fine idea to incorporate.
For them, I could see that making sense.
Sure. So JC Jane's in the car. I forget what the conversation, but she decides she's just gonna go. Oh, they're afraid of Alba Fire waiting for them at the arena, so she's just gonna head over to Mandy Rose's house. And then she's like, oh, wait, I'm being pulled over or something. So the idea is it's Alba Fire drags her out of the car, but so Alba Fire's driving around impersonating police officers.
Remember,
now?
like they're saying like the Dwight, you can't do that.
And JC Jane's acting was just really, really bad. And like, she has enough experience that it shouldn't be this bad, right? It's one thing for Cora Jade, who's 20 and new to wrestling,
Right.
but JC Jane's been there and been featured for over a year now, right? So she's bad. She's bad. She's not terrible in the ring. She's not great, but she's
They're pretty
really,
bad.
really bad
At least
actor.
from what I remember.
Another Resthold. Did you know Kiana James is a businesswoman?
I didn't actually.
And maybe it's Kiana, but whatever.
Doesn't
So
matter.
this week she's at Fallon Henley's bar with Briggs and Jensen, and she wants to buy the bar for some reason. I think at first I was annoyed because I'm like, why would a successful businesswoman want to buy like a dumpy looking country bar? But I guess it's because she does mention she wants to like tear it down and build something else there.
Classic.
But
Evil
like,
businesswoman.
right. And so Henley is kind of cool. Like, I'm on board for her. But James' character's just silly. It's like, it feels like it's from a bygone era, right? Where your character is your job. You're a plumber. You're a dentist. You're a garbage man. You're a businesswoman, right? So
Classic, like, new generation era kind of stuff.
she's just not believable. And a couple weeks ago, I thought they knew how silly it was. And I felt like maybe they were leaning into it. But in
No.
this one, I feel like we're back to like, we're supposed to take this seriously. And I cannot. So not good. High spot. Really quickly, I like Stacks. I don't know why. Oh, I do. He's quick. He's really aggressive. Everything he does looks like he's doing it with a lot of purpose, right? So those are my favorite kind of wrestlers. I don't want to mention Pac because obviously he's not in that sentence, or going back, the man who shall not be named in Benoit. Like, everything they do is just a little bit more intense and quick.
Christopher Benoit.
So this guy's got a little bit of that. So he beat Hank, the security guard here. I told you it was a curb stomp, but using his knee instead of his foot, and I actually thought it looked pretty cool. Another high spot, pretty big one from this, was the McDonough Axiom match we got based off their interaction earlier. Really, really good match. I would actually recommend people go out and find it. Axiom's just flying around the ring and had some really cool counters to McDonough's stuff. And McDonough is targeting Axiom's knee and looked vicious doing it. So you saw the finish,
just like pushing his leg back
in a really awkward angle. It looked awesome. He just sort of snaps Axiom's knee. The ref has to stop the match. I told you I felt like maybe they got the idea from Truth hurting himself last week legitimately and having to stop a match, that they decided to use it here. I thought it was good. Awesome TV match. I would recommend. And then a little detail too I liked. I told you post-match, McDonough says that Axiom's leg suffered a severe strain, not a tear, because JD is a nice guy, right? So this idea that he's diagnosing the injuries and him being nice is only like kind of badly injuring you, right? So I thought that was cool. So then he's mentioning Dragunov is in the hospital and he dared someone to get on his level and test him. And he's like, I'm looking at you, Apollo Crews. So that sets up another match that should be pretty cool, right? So McDonough's a rival man. He obviously didn't fare well against Braun Breaker and didn't get the title, but he is having some really good matches, and I, for one, really like his character work. Resthold, I told you earlier as well, the main event for me, which was
the tag title rematch.
My hit and miss tag team, yes, of what is it, Katana Chance and Caden Carter. So they successfully defended against Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons, and it was just Chance and Carter trying to work too fast here, and Chance had multiple spots that didn't go well, and Vic Joseph had to pull out the old. Didn't get all of it 2 or 3 times. The flow was just a bit off as these. It's like when they're just getting ahead of themselves, right? And sometimes it works, and this one it did not for me. There was not a lot of flow to this. I will say though, the one thing out of this, did you see the belt shot when Zoe Stark turned heel after?
No.
It looked
good.
I
think so, but I forgot.
I thought that was kind of cool. So it's got Stark and Lyons are sort of handing the tag team belts because they're like the good babyface team, right? Over. And so Lyons releases hers right away, and Stark kind of holds on to it and isn't quite giving it to I forget which one of the champions it was. And then she kind of quickly pulls it back and just drills Lyons with it. It actually looked really cool. So I'm hoping this is something for Stark. I think she's really good. So I'm character-wise, not amazing, but I'm hoping heel her is better because in-ring, I really like her. So that's it for me for NXT. I will talk about Impact, but give me a break so you talk about what you want to talk about.
I only got 2 from Raw.
And I saw one with you.
So
we watched it together.
We watched the
Usos
sick. New Day promo at Open Raw.
Sick.
It was amazing.
Great.
It was really good. They all killed it. Usos kind of felt like the prime Usos from 2017 that I loved, that I remember loving.
Agree.
And that was for sure my favorite part of it. But like I thought everyone did pretty good. It was really good until it got interrupted. But like
Even the interruption, like I didn't love it as much as the rest, but it was the comic relief, right? And that's Riddle. But yes, we're hard on main roster, right? But it's not like we're not ever gonna like anything they do.
because this was awesome.
This was excellent. This was captivating television.
It built the next match, like the SmackDown match, in like less than a week. Easy.
It felt real, right? And not Kofi, but the other New Day,
It
who's
kind of
Woods.
freshed up the feud a bit, like because like they already feud this year.
Oh,
right?
that's and
So-
even when it started, right? I'm like, oh my god, are we going here for the 50th time? Like, what are they doing? But
these teams just work well together. So I mean,
Woods
I
was
can't hate it too much.
Woods promo was fantastic. The Usos promo was fantastic, and I thought Kofi was the weakest, but still really good.
Yeah.
Right. This was an awesome professional wrestling segment. Right. I no doubt
Mhm.
loved it.
Then the Resthold to end all Restholds, as I have not talked about this week yet. So Seth Rollins held a U.S. title open challenge.
Right.
Mustafa Ali went to accept it. But he got obliterated by Lashley. Lashley came out to beat the tar out of Rollins, then leaves, didn't take his title back even though he wants to. Oh wait, so no, it was the Judgment Day came out to accept Rollins' challenge. I guess Balor wanted it. OC came out. Mia Yim debuted. Blah blah blah.
Sure.
Lashley came out, beat the crap out of Rollins, then was leaving. Austin Theory came out to cash in his Money in the Bank on the U.S. title. Lashley then costs him the match, and Rollins wins. So Theory failed his Money in the Bank cash in on a mid-card title on an open challenge. So let me clarify. He cashed in his Money in the Bank on the U.S. title, which A, is stupid. B, not how that works. Every time I've ever heard them introduce a Money in the Bank title match,
You're not wrong, I don't think.
they say a world title opportunity. Even the
Right.
NXT title will make more sense because that's at least the top title of the brand, so you can justify that.
Agreed.
This is the U.S. title. It's not even the Intercontinental title.
They
it's the
clearly
US
wanted
title.
this briefcase out of the
Right.
question.
But like, and not only that, if he wanted the U.S. title so bad, it was an open challenge.
Very good
and
point.
Lashley just beat the crap out of Rollins. It was an open challenge. You did not need to cash in your Money in
It's
the
like
Bank.
you used a coupon for something they were giving away free anyway.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Like, are you? It is. I know they wanted to briefcase off the Theory, but this is the worst way they could have possibly done it.
Yeah.
They make him look like an idiot. They devalue the Money in the Bank even more. It's just so stupid. There's the small high spot from this is that I think they've pulled off a double turn with Rollins and Lashley, which I don't hate.
Really?
I think that's the general consensus.
Okay.
Which I don't hate. I don't know, but if they do that, that's cool. Face Rollins good. But this is the stupidest thing they've done in a while because this is actively
Fired up.
not how the Money in the Bank works. They're literally ignoring their own logic here.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yep. They're not.
This is like something that Vince would do. This feels like something Vince would do.
Maybe he's creeping back in, making
This
some
is
phone calls to
honestly
trips.
the dumbest thing they could have done. Like honestly, just have him fail on Roman. I don't give a crap.
I think that rant tested out my mic levels, and I think I'm solid. I left you enough room to get mad, and it didn't. I don't think there was any clipping. We'll see. But yes, you are fired up about that.
It's the dumbest thing they could have
sense.
possibly. It's literally the worst possible option. Like I remember my friend was watching Raw, I think, and he texted me about it. I thought it was some sick joke. Cause like again, not how this works.
Right. So that's it for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go into Impact then. First high spot for me was the video package. I also was telling you about this. I couldn't find it to send to you because I actually would have. It's for Giselle Shaw, and it's put together by her stylist that they introduced last week. I forget his name. Jay Vidal, maybe? I feel like that's actually right.
I think so.
So anyways, it was this super dramatic montage of clips of wrestlers and executives gushing with praise about Giselle Shaw, but it was all previous footage with anytime they used the name, they just dubbed her name over top of it for whatever name they actually said. So there was one, because you could clearly read the lips. It was Gail Kim going on about, I don't think we'll ever see somebody like whatever again. And you could see when it said Giselle Shaw, it was clearly Awesome Kong, and that was from the Awesome Kong's Hall of Fame induction. So I thought it was really funny because the package looked great and the dubbing was like just obvious enough to be funny. You know what I mean? It's almost like they tried to get it to match, but they weren't quite matching. And you could see also the lips moving are saying something different. So it wasn't like, if WWE did this, they would just like smash you over the head with the fact that
Right.
it's fake, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this almost looked like this guy would be trying to pass it off as real, so I thought it was really funny. And
Mhm.
plus, Giselle Shaw is the future, people. I'm a huge Giselle Shaw fan as of right now. Another high spot, Trey Miguel, Mike Bailey, X Division tournament match. Incredible pace to start this. Both of these guys just fly around the ring, and the first few minutes were them avoiding the kind of big moves of the other. Kenny King, who's got issues with Mike Bailey, which he'll actually elaborate on later, he comes down to ringside and he's eating popcorn watching the match, but eventually he gets involved and throws Trey Miguel into the steps so that Bailey loses by DQ. So obviously the finish wasn't super satisfying, but the action was really great up to that point. Although, as I always say, the one thing here, the glaring difference in the offense between these two, Bailey and Miguel are both lightning quick, but Bailey's offense looks like he is actually hitting you with it. Whereas Miguel, I use the comparison all the time when you and your brother were in Taekwondo and you would do sparring with light contact,
Right. Yeah.
where you're supposed to be going through the motions but not actually kicking them super hard. So that is the difference. Bailey looks like he's kicking the crap out of you, and when he hit the moonsault double knees on the floor to Miguel, it looked like it would just cave your chest in. So, very fun match to watch. And then another high spot right after, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I generally am not a fan of Kenny King. I just find him the same for decades now. But he cut a promo explaining his motivation for attacking Bailey in the match, and it's basically super simple. But he's like, I see something in your eyes, and I'm not believing the whole like bowing and super polite, and I think he referred to the mullet too. He's consumed with exposing Bailey as a fraud. And so he's like, even though I do want championships, like he even says he wants the main championship, he's like, I can't focus on this until I expose Bailey as the fraud he is. So I thought that's a cool, simple like route for a heel to take. So I was pretty impressed with it. Then we get a rest hold, which is Alicia interacting with Havoc and then Eddie Edwards. So one after the other immediately because it's her going backstage. So it's this isn't nice. It's shocking how someone can have so little on-screen chemistry with their actual husband, right? Because she's talking to Eddie Edwards, who she's married to, and it just sounds awful. And then Havoc's new gimmick is that because her new persona of Jessica lost a match, she's an alcoholic now. Like she's drinking beers and stuff. So I don't know. It was just dumb all around.
Oh, that sounds so stupid.
It was. Another high spot for me. I'm a big Macklin fan, and he's just pissed off and tired of being disrespected, and I like it. He wants title shots, so he's backstage just being an angry boy. This week he confronted Tommy Dreamer, and it's going to lead to a match where they're going to face each other. And he's just believable as this bitter, angry heel who's overlooked, and I think he should be one they elevate because he feels like an Impact guy, right? I know he
Right.
wasn't, but like this character, this version of him
Yeah.
that's actually good is an Impact creation. So I'd be focusing on him. Sammy Callahan cut a super intense promo with a hostage. So he's taken one of Eric Young's, I always write EY in my notes,
EY.
Eric Young's member of his faction hostage and had duct tape over his mouth. So basically, super intense promo with his face right up close to the camera. And it's going to lead to a Death Machine double Jeopardy match. Care to guess what that is?
I remember that they had done Double Jeopardy before, but do I remember what that is? Nope.
So for Sammy's version, the Death Machine, you can only be pinned or submitted after you're already bleeding. So it makes sense for him, right? It's his kind of match. High spot, and I would have to.
So it's like a first blood match with another level.
Right. I would
Not
have to
bad.
decide if this or the Danielson Guevara match were my favorite. I might say this one because it surprised me a bit more. And that's the main event here that was Jordan Grace defending the Knockouts Championship against Giselle Shaw. And man, this was fast. It was physical. I even showed you one of the forearm exchanges where they were just laying it into each other, right? I thought both of them looked great. And again, Shaw is the future of this division for me. Really high paced, really high impact stuff. Great intensity. We had like a stalling superplex by Grace without breaking grip directly into a jackhammer. I showed you she hit a vertebreaker to Shaw. Looked awesome. Shaw hit a bunch of cool stuff. I pretty much love this match. I put it on my list actually as matches I really enjoyed this year. My favorite match this week, I will say it, I think, right? So Grace ended up winning with a power bomb directly into the Grace driver. It was only about 11 or 12 minutes, but I thought it was awesome. And if you wanted to add Masha Slamovich and have a three-way match with these, it would be fantastic. And speaking of which, Masha came out and just beat Jordan Grace down with the chair after this. So clearly they're going to have another match, which at this point is my women's match of the year. And I don't see anything beating it in the next, we got a month and a bit, right? So I'm all for a rematch. Honestly, a pretty good episode of Impact. I enjoyed a lot of it. And that is all I have.
Mm-hmm.
So we are moving into our final segment each week. Jack's going to update us really quickly. I don't know. Is it quick? Might not be quick.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Okay.
I'd say.
And it's on Action Wrestling Figures, which is what we call Figuring It Out with Jack.
So first thing was they revealed the second wave of the Coliseum Collection Ultimate Edition figures, which is like they're two packs like boxed together, and then they're like in that retro style I was showing you.
Yes.
It's like the
cool.
LJN style packaging, so it's got like Jake Roberts and Ravishing Rick Rude. And they're in ring attires from like old figures they had. I think it was like maybe LJN figures or whatever. And so they're in like the same poses and whatever, and same attires as the old figures they had. I think Jake's gonna have like a posable snake this time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is that a nice innovation or what?
Yeah. And like you remember like they had like the card cutouts on the back? Like you can cut out a trading card on the back.
Right, yes.
They have those.
Lots of stuff in that at
so
that
yeah,
time period.
those are cool. So that's nice. Because they just did Hulk Hogan and Terry Funk. So, yeah, your boy.
My boy. I want to go back and watch some Prime Terry Funk because I think he's better than I thought he was as a...
You like Terry Funk? I was talking about Hulk Hogan.
No,
God.
that's not my boy.
The
Funk I like.
Speaking of Hulk Hogan, they put the lineup for Elite 101 has been leaked, so you got Mr. America.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Which is not Hulk Hogan.
Nope, absolutely not.
No. Sonya Deville, who hasn't had an Elite since...
Also not Hulk Hogan.
It was a collector's edition since Elite 69.
Nice.
Ha. And then Johnny Knoxville.
Gross.
Yeah. And then I think then there's going to be Kevin Owens, Ricochet, and Cody Rhodes, which we haven't had renders for yet, but so that's neat. And then I was telling you about they're replacing the Ultimate Jeff Jarrett figure because he's in AEW now. So, and apparently they're going to replace it with a first-time Ultimate. So like someone who hasn't had one of those yet.
And they're leaving it a mystery for now? Nice.
So, here's my pitch. So, in that series already, you got AJ Styles from WrestleMania this year in like that white and blue, which he wore, which is pretty nice. So, that's a good choice. And you know what they should do with that?
I do not.
Seth Rollins.
Obviously.
You know what he should wear?
Thanos.
Yeah. SummerSlam 18. This is the time to do Thanos Rollins because it would be like the ultimate articulation. It would be cool. And I would buy 3. I will buy 3.
So that should be enough for them. They probably make a profit off it as soon as you buy 3, I would assume. So there.
I will at
least
least buy 2 because then
if they don't
I
do
can
it,
open one and I'll put one in a defender case.
If they don't do it, it's because they hate money.
Exactly. No, what I'm gonna I will actually that'll be the first figure where I'm just gonna stockpile it because it's gonna be so cool. Because I'll buy one to open, then I'll buy one to keep in the box, then I'll buy one to keep in the box with a protector case.
You got a plan for sure.
Then I'll maybe buy another one to open for more heads. Then I can head swap Rollins figures like nobody's business.
All day long.
Exactly. So, do that. Me want that. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah, half of it's just me campaigning for Thanos Rollins.
It was. Well, I appreciate you battling through your sore throat and cough, and hopefully it didn't come through too much. You were doing a good job of leaning away from the mic, so that's always good. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this episode, actually. I feel there was some good energy here, and we will definitely...
Despite our shortcomings.
Yes, right. Shortcomings. We're perfect humans. Come on.
Yeah.
We'll be back next Saturday for 122. Now, Impact has
Which
their
is when we're going to an indie.
pay-per-view on Friday. We'll be at an indie show, so we'll probably
we'll
talk
preview
about that.
Full Gear, though, because Full Gear is also
For sure.
on the day of
So what's the indie show? Smash and
WXW.
And it's being recorded for
Network.
the network, so it should be a pretty decent show. I forgot about it. I'm kind of pumped for that. So I'm sure
I remember seeing there's Virgo versus Alexander Wolf.
Oh, nice. I'm sure we'll banter about that. So please come back for episode 122 and tell some other people to come back too. We'd really love to pick up some new listeners. And until next Saturday when we meet again, take care.